Welcome, everybody, back to another episode of Wire2Wire Sports Podcast. I'm the NFL genius, Gene Walzak. In the upper left corner, we got Kent State's own, Cleveland's own, Cottrell. You lost to college, dog. You're 20 and 22 in bowl games. You get the college back when you get above 500. We ain't doing that shit no
more. It's been a rough one, man. I know one of the bowl games lost is 100%, my team bowing out there, and from both sides. I know it's going to be a football heavy show. Team's going to get talked about, both of them. So not necessarily looking forward to that, but two very different landscapes for my football teams there. But you guys got some exciting football over there.
I know what you're talking about, bro. In the upper right corner, Scholastic Shally, Uncle Shally, Mr. William Shallcross.
Good evening, gentlemen. Why'd you say it that way?
Say it what way?
You're like Scholastic.
I don't know. I just giving different ad libs today. I don't know. I took the college.
New year, new him.
Yeah, I took the college away from Cottrell because he doesn't deserve it. I'm very frustrated with his college performance. I had many people telling me they bet the house on Cottrell's picks, and they're broke right now. They don't have Christmas money.
Oh, well, they clearly didn't pay attention to the season because if you looked at the college picks during the year, those sucked. So
yeah, but they trusted you, Cottrell. You had the nickname College Cottrell. They trusted you.
Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice.
They got fooled multiple times.
Exactly. So that's not on me anymore.
Broken homeless to start the year.
Hey, look, I'm fired up. I'm ready to rock and roll today. We got a little hot wire action today. Let's get rolling with that. Cottrell, bring us in. Bring us down.
Absolutely. So 2 weeks away, a lot has happened, but ultimately just kind of wanted to still bring you news that's, really being talked about right now. And we're going to get to, the NFL. We're going to get to the college football playoff, but just some lighter news here to start and going to the hardwood. Trae Young, point guard for the Atlanta Hawks, has essentially requested a trade, and the Atlanta Hawks are on board with that. So both sides have agreed that Trae Young will be getting dealt here sometime soon. They're just working on finding the right team, right fit, right pieces to make that move happen. Now, it was reported today that Trae Young's preferred destination, I don't know why, but is the Washington Wizards. Gentlemen, as far as Trae Young getting traded, do you have any thoughts about, if you think that he could potentially go somewhere and actually help out a team? You think he's just trying to go somewhere where he can put up, 100 shots and just play ball that way, maybe get paid a ton of money from a team that doesn't have a supermax superstar there? What are your thoughts on Trae Young and ultimately, how do you think he could swing a team's performance here to go towards the playoff stretch?
I mean, he's obviously chasing victories, right? I mean, why else would you go to Washington? You want to win.
I agree with Gene. I mean, this kind of reminds me of like Bradley Beal stuff, like stay in Washington forever, just keep getting paid and losing. The honest part of it is I think if he went to a contender in the right fit, I think he would definitely make a team better. If he's their second or third option and he decides he wants to be, a real point guard sometimes. I definitely think he could be a piece that could get a team, maybe not all the way over the hump, but definitely, make them better and give them a deeper playoff run. But, to Gene's sarcastic point, which I agree with, it sounds like he wants to go to Washington and get paid and go out and play, playground ball all day.
Hey, listen, I think that, they're obviously looking to win. And Trae Young, seriously, though, I think his play, like the way everything's structured for Trae Young, is he doesn't want to win. He wants to lead a team, and he wants the offense to run completely through him, and he wants to be a hero. And I'll tell you something right now, Jalen Johnson's a much better player than Trae Young, no doubt about it. You watch the Atlanta Hawks play, that kid's going to be a top 10 player in the NBA. He's incredible.
Yeah, Jalen Johnson is definitely a superstar, and it's kind of crazy that, even just seeing the Atlanta Hawks is progression throughout the season here. Trae Young's missed some games, to injury, just kind of being out, things like that. They play so much better when he's not playing, and it's kind of wild to see because when you think about Trae Young, or at least when I think about Trae Young, I think back to when the Hawks were this play-in team, or maybe in that sixth spot or whatever, but they would win playoff series from time to time, and they've never had a crazy talented roster. And so for Trae Young to now be a minus player for that team and what they've built there is kind of surprising to me. I will say though, as far as like what Trae Young can bring, as soon as he requested the trade, I thought the perfect fit for him would be going to Minnesota. Go somewhere where you can have another star with you, but at the same time, you need to be a focal point of an offense there as well. I think the one thing that Minnesota is desperately missing is somebody to be that guy that goes right there with Ant that will compete against these teams over there in the West. And I think Trae Young has shown you he's not afraid of the moment. He can perform in the playoffs there. He can also get his teammates involved there with the assists and things like that. So immediately my mind went to Minnesota. Was very disappointed to hear that he ultimately wants to go to Washington. And to me, just like you guys both have kind of said there already, I think that's basically just saying, Trae Young going out there saying, I want to get the money. I want to throw up as many shots as possible and just go on with my career without any expectations.
Shall we?
Yeah, I mean, again, I think we're in an era of players where not everybody. I think back in the day, like for the most part, everybody wanted to win. Everybody wanted to be part of a winning team. And I don't know if that's the case anymore with a lot of NBA players. I think a lot of them enjoy playing. I think they all enjoy making, shitloads of money every year. And I don't blame them for that, but some of them, I think, don't care if they're on a team like that. I think Minnesota. I think to Cottrell's point, I think that would be a great kind of little compliment to Anthony Edwards. I think would take a lot of pressure off him in the backcourt shooting wise. But like we already said, it doesn't seem like he's interested in going to that type of situation. So to be really curious to see. I think where Atlanta ultimately moves him. Because he's a good player. I don't think you can give him away. So. Be very curious to see what other teams start picking up the phone and calling and see maybe if his attitude or his decision changes about going somewhere else.
Well, Shaw, I like Nick's comment. I don't think any way it works in Minnesota. He doesn't want to be a number two, and he's number two to Jalen Johnson. He'd be a number two in Minnesota.
But I also think it's different though, when you're losing, and I also think that. We've seen Trae Young, like last year, he was running with Jalen Johnson. To me, I think it's more than just the whole Jalen Johnson thing. Does he want to be an alpha? Does he want to be Batman? Yes, I 100% think that that's the case. But I also think that he wants to be a contributor. Like he wants to be a contributor to a team, in my opinion. I think he thinks he can go to Washington and be the whole entire team. Now, I'm not saying I think, one way or another it would work with Ant or not, but I think this whole Hawk situation kind of has happened fast and everything is essentially changed overnight because 1 minute he was the team that was, sending the Sixers home and, shrugging his, waving off his arms.
Whoa. What the hell is this for?
Here comes the bet. Here
what
comes.
Do you mean? I was just talking about his performances it just so happens that in the playoffs.
Hey, how about the Knicks? Why don't you bring the Knicks up? Don't bring up the goddamn Sixers, bro. No need for that shit.
Yeah, it happened. Knicks as well. So you go from that essentially to now the team is better when you're off the court. So I think that's probably a lot to do with it, and I feel like he is the one that's getting blamed for a lot of their struggles there, and arguably you could say it is his fault.
I also think I'm not saying this is true, and I also think being a number two to Anthony Edwards is different than being a number two to Jalen Johnson. And I'm not saying on paper it's necessarily like that. I think in Trae's mind it could be that way. Anthony Edwards is definitely the bigger star. So I'm curious if any of that factors into it.
I'll tell you something right now. Jalen Johnson, I got buy stock in that kid.
Don't disagree with you.
I think that in 3 years from now, Jalen Johnson will be a better player than Anthony Edwards in the league. He's close to being a better player than him now.
I think, yeah. I mean, I think a lot of that would depend on too if he has one of these off seasons where he actually matures and kind of digs in a little bit, then I think his ceiling goes up even more than it is now.
I would say for me, it's going to ultimately, and is in control of his own destiny, in my opinion. I mean, there's only few players that can will teams to victory like they are. And as great as Jalen Johnson has been, he's been incredible all year. Like, I'm not taking anything away from him. Moving forward the rest of his career, we have to see if he's just the number one in terms of putting up the big time numbers and, you know, having the stats on a team that's in the play-in, or is he leading the Hawks to, you know, conference finals, maybe NBA finals appearances and things like that. And I think Anthony Edwards has shown you he has the ability to do that. Jalen Johnson, it's still very early in his career, but the jury is, you know, still out and remains to be seen, you know, with that.
I'll ask you, would you rather have 23.7, 10.5 boards and 8.5 assists on 52% from the field? Or would you rather have 29.3, 5 rebounds and 3.5 assists on 50.4 from the field? What would you rather have statistically?
I mean, statistically, Jalen's numbers are better. I would rather have Ant, though.
It's fair. I'm saying in the future. That's kind of what I'm on.
I got you.
I would rather build around Jalen Johnson than Anthony Edwards.
We've been high on this show. We've been high on this show on Jalen Johnson. Like, we were talking about Jalen Johnson 2 years ago, talking about, you know, players that could move in 6 men of the year, most improved player. So, you know, we've been on the Jalen Johnson train there. So
he was 100% going to win most improved, and then he got hurt.
Yep, exactly.
Like, far and away. All right, let's move on.
All right, so next story here. Like I said before, we're going to get to college football playoff. We're going to get to NFL playoffs, the coaching carousel. But the hottest story right now in college football that's not involving the playoff is the transfer portal, and specifically Washington quarterback DeMond Williams Jr. Now, 5 days ago, he had signed a new deal with the Washington Huskies to remain with the Huskies and be their starting quarterback. But since then, actually just yesterday, he had reached out to the university and put out a statement on social media that he intends to enter the transfer portal with a do not contact tag associated with that. Now, Washington has since basically said, hey, we're not putting your name into the transfer portal. You signed that agreement with us. And in that agreement, it included a provision that prohibits him from entering the transfer portal. So that's why they are refusing to, you know, officially put him in there. With that being said, gentlemen, obviously we know the NCAA is always got something going on and, you know, things aren't getting handled the right way here. What are your thoughts about this situation here? And, you know, ultimately, how do you guys see this potentially playing out there?
Did I read this right? And y'all can tell me if I'm wrong. But did I read this right? Is the reason that he put himself back into the transfer portal because weasel ass Lane Kiffin wants him?
That is the rumor.
It's one of the schools he's linked to because the dominoes are starting to fall the other way. Where I think a lot of people that LSU targeted, they're not getting. Chambliss already came out and said that if he gets his extra year, he's staying at Ole Miss. He's not going.
Sorsby went to Texas Tech. It's looking like Sam Leavitt is still exploring his options, and a lot of people think he's going to go to Oregon after Dante Moore declares for the draft. So LSU is looking like right now, at least, that they don't have a quarterback. So
the grass is going from green to brown very quickly down in the bayou.
Crazy, bro.
Is it?
It's amazing that it's got me rooting for Ole Miss. Like, I know I picked Miami to win it all, but it's got me rooting for Ole Miss because I'm loving the team. I'm loving the way they're coming together. And I'm loving how this keeps consistently getting dumped on Lane Kiffin's head.
As it should.
I know this is not like the topic right now, but there's got to be a line somewhere. Bill, am I wrong? If you sign a letter of intent with a university and sign with a university for a year, at some point these kids got to live up to the agreements that they signed. Am I wrong?
No, and as much as I would love to dump on the NCAA, this really isn't an NCAA issue. This goes beyond a letter of intent. This is more, strictly of a, I hate to say it, but you've noticed that the last 10 to 14 days, you're not seeing kids saying, "Hey, I'm coming out. I'm returning to school for my next year." It's saying they're all saying, "I re-signed." Like these kids are literally signing 1-year contracts with these schools to get paid what they're going to get paid, and at the end of every year they can opt out. Some obviously have different language than others, and some have the ability to go in the portal. Some don't. I saw that some schools are putting in language that, like, if you do opt out and somebody offers you more money, we have the ability to match, and if you match, you have to stay. The shit's getting out of hand, and this is why nobody wanted this to go down go down the path that it's going down now. I have bad news for him. If he really did sign a contract, like Cottrell said, like it's being reported that it specifically said that he can't enter the portal, like this is going to become a court issue. He's either going to have to suck it up and say, I'm going to play at Washington this year, and then I'm assuming it's a 1-year deal, and then after that he can opt out next year and go wherever he wants to go. Or it's probably going to get ugly. Washington is pretty firmly already said that they're going to take every legal power and route they have to enact and enforce the contract that he signed. So it doesn't like Washington's just going to bend over here and be like, you know what, we just agreed to pay you all this money, but we'll let you go now because Lane Kiffin's going to offer you more because he doesn't have a quarterback. So again, to their point and your point, they've already invested a lot of money in them, time into them. Yeah, at some point, I mean, listen, if we want these kids to be treated like pro athletes and everything else, you might as well get used to it. If you're going to give your word and you're going to put your name on the dotted line, you're going to have to live up to what's on that piece of paper. And if not, then there's going to be consequences. So very curious to see how this is going to play out.
Is he not an employee, though? I don't understand. He's getting paid $4 million.
It doesn't matter if you're an employee or not. You sign your name to something. That's an agreement. Like if I, sign my like Gene, for example, and of course this is a much smaller scale here, but if I sign my name, you write out something like, hey, you're going to help me move, or you're going to help me do X, Y, and Z. I sign my name there. That's a legally binding agreement there. It doesn't matter if you're an employee or not. You sign your name on the dotted line. You weren't coerced. You don't have an out there. Then you're legally obligated to do that. So now I completely disagree with that there. I think the only way he's going to find himself getting out of this situation is whatever that number is that Washington was supposed to be paying him to be their quarterback. I think they're going to ask for that number back, whether it be $4 million and he never even actually got it, to where, the new school that he goes to essentially is paying a buyout number for him. Like, I think that's the only way this is going to get settled there, because they have no reason to back off of putting him in the portal. Like, there's no reason that Washington has right now that would make them, put him in the portal at this point.
I mean, that just opens up another can of worms now. Now it's like, and I guess if Washington's agreeing to it, it's, it would be, at some point it would be their fault. But, what's to stop them from saying, you know what, you want him, it's $12 million. Either pay it or he stays. Like, I mean, is that, we're going to start doing that? Like, it's that's why, like, I hate to say it, man. Just like this all started 4 years ago, and it started out with the NCAA wanting nothing to do with it, and then they got called out by a lot of big name coaches, and then they were like, you know what, you can do it, and we're just not going to regulate it. And now with this, like, this is not what it was supposed to be at all. If I'm Washington, I still don't let him out though. Like, I mean, I don't know who they have behind him, but even if they're like, all right, you can give us the $4 million and we'll let him go, like, that's still screwing me. I don't have a quarterback now, and like, I'm towards the end of the quarterback carousel now. Like, now I gotta go get somebody.
Right now, they actually have Bo Pribula coming in on a visit. So, I mean, I do think that while Damon, of course, I think in my opinion is a better quarterback, but
Absolutely.
that is definitely, a quarterback that you can start and have somewhat of confidence in,
But I don't think Bo signs there unless he's gone. I don't think Bo's going to sign there.
Of course not.
So, I mean, his hands are tied. He can't do anything either until this gets resolved.
But I think ultimately, though, it's going to be if Bo says, hey, I'm going to come to Washington, but DeMond can't be here. I think at that point, that's when the ball kind of starts rolling like, hey, you better go to LSU. You better go to wherever. Tell them we need $6 million and we'll let you hit the portal. But if not, you're just stuck here and you're not going to be the starting quarterback here because he brought in Bo Pabula. So it's up to you, buddy. Ball's in your court.
I don't know if Bo's got that much weight to be making demands like that. I mean, but yeah, man. Why not? I mean,
York County Jones, Bo Pabula. Come on, man.
If you're in that position, I guess use the leverage you have.
Washington doesn't have a quarterback. I mean, it sounds like you have all the leverage in the world if you're getting recruited by them.
I could see how it goes bad for Bo though. At the same time,
Bo knows football.
Sure.
All right, gents. Any more with the portal here?
No, but this is going to be an intriguing thing to watch because by the sounds of it, is not getting resolved anytime soon. So,
yep, yeah, and I'm sure we'll keep up with it on Coast to Coast on Saturday mornings there. So, tune in for any updates with that. But moving forward here, going over to the NFL, and this will lead us right into our NFL topics here. But this past Sunday, Myles Garrett broke the single season sack record. He broke the record that was set by Michael Strahan at 22.5, and then later tied by TJ Watt. He stands alone now at 23. With that said, I know we now have a 17 game season, 18-week season, but ultimately, what are your thoughts on the record there? And does it have any less weight to it because of that extra game? And then also with that said, do you think this is a record that gets broken sometime in the near future?
That's what I want to get into. Yeah, Sally, I want to get into that part.
I'm kind of twofold here. I'm happy for Myles Garrett. Again, I think he's a great player. I think it's a great accomplishment. That is one of obviously kind of the hallowed numbers in the NFL. And it's exciting because it's one that I think people kind of give chase to every year to some degree, at least until some point, until most people start to fall off at the end of the year. And he didn't to some degree. I'm kind of mad because I feel like we were talking about like week 14, he needed like 3. And I was like, all right, cool. To get to the second part of this question, he's going to do it in like 15 or 16 games. There'll be no argument. There'll be no conversation. It'll be his. He did it in less games. We can put it all to rest. But lo and behold, here, we wait until the last game of the season to get it, and now it's again. I don't think it's any less impressive. I mean, I think he has the record, but he did do it in one more game. So I mean,
he had more sacks than Michael Strahan going into week 18. I hate that comment. Michael Strahan should shut his mouth because in week 16 or week 17 he didn't record a sack. He had more sacks than Michael Strahan. He had 22. Michael Strahan had 21.5 going into the last week of the season. So Michael Strahan should shut his mouth. And
he played one extra game.
What? Yeah, but
played one extra game.
No.
Yeah.
18 is when he broke TJ Watt's record. Michael Strahan's record was 21.5. Am I correct when I say that?
22.5 was the number. But I get what you're saying through 15 games? He only had 21.5 and he got the last one in his last game.
If Michael Strahan has 22.5, I can understand it.
He does.
All right, so then I'm wrong. I should shut up.
You're an idiot.
Fair. I thought he already had Michael Strahan, and then the one extra sack he got was to take the record completely.
No, they were tied. TJ tied Strahan at 22.5, and then Myles just broke it with getting 23.
Okay, so he had 22 going into last week of the season.
Correct.
So through 16 games, he had 22.
Correct.
Okay, and then Michael Strahan's got a point. But
yeah,
that's what it is. The NFL wants to be greedy and add more games, and when it gets to 18 games, receiving records will be broken. Remember when 1,000 yards used to matter something to a wide receiver? Doesn't matter shit no more.
I actually don't think that. Well, I actually disagree wholeheartedly with that statement. Look at how many 1,000-yard receivers you had in the NFL this year. I mean, I think that kind of shows you that it's not it's still
it's an elite. It's an elite group, dude.
There's 19 of them. Alec Pierce had 1,000 yards receiving this year.
Okay, but my point is that there's an extra football game. 19 is not a big number with an extra football game.
It's a huge number.
I don't think it's that big of a number with an extra in the sense that everybody's playing 17 games as opposed to 16 in the past. I don't think 19 is a big number, especially in a pass happy league.
Alec Pierce had 1,000 yards receiving this year. Just want to be very clear.
Okay,
Michael
but
Wilson had 1,000 yards receiving this year.
Did Michael Pittman have 1,000 yards receiving this year?
Maybe, probably. I don't know.
No,
I'm just saying, like, the number one receiver on a team had 1,000 yards. Like, that's not a crazy statement in a pass happy league.
I don't know. There's just multiple teams that have two people that have over 1,000 yards receiving.
But they're all elite receivers, though.
I don't think it means anything. 1,000 yards anymore. There's receivers.
I mean, if you want to give me the argument that like Alex Pierce is doing it every year, that's one thing. He, like to Contrell's point, he had a really good year. Michael Pittman had a terrible year. So it's like if Michael Pittman's getting all those targets, Alex Pierce isn't. You know, you're not batting an eye at Michael Pittman getting 1,000 yards rush a year.
17 running backs had 1,000 yards rushing. That used to be a thing. There's only 32 starting running backs. More than half the league had 1,000 yards rushing. 19 wide receivers. More than half the league's WR1s had 1,000 yards. It's not a thing anymore. It doesn't matter.
Well, yeah, but you factor in how many teams had two. I mean,
there's also a tight end mixed in there as well. So I wouldn't say over half the teams. And some of those teams actually probably have multiple receivers there. So I don't.
Well, who got two besides Philly and Detroit?
Dallas.
Okay. And again, you're talking about all six of them are top 15, top 20 receivers.
Did the Rams get it too? Or Devontae just missed it?
I feel like Devontae probably missed too many games.
Devontae had 789. I don't know. I don't think it like I think that Myles Garrett getting the sack record is a huge thing. And the thing I wanted to bring up had nothing to do with Michael Strahan's crocodile tears. I'm fine with Michael Strahan bitching about an extra game. I just think it's funny. The problem I had is if this was a game to go to the playoffs, or if this was a game that mattered, I'd understand Zach Taylor and Jamar Chase's point 100%. This game did not friggin' matter. And you're complaining that a guy that broke the NFL sack record, that they stopped the game for a minute. And they're trying to go hurry up offense. Like, I didn't know what was going on. Then tell your quarterback not to fall down for him then. Because that's what happened. It wasn't as bad as Aaron Rodgers falling down for Michael Strahan, but man, it was terrible. Like, let's call it like it is.
I think the other thing that makes it bad is if you actually Zach Taylor definitely came off as crybaby-esque there, God. But listen to Jamar Chase. Jamar Chase just seemed like he was tone deaf to the situation. He was like, the next time I get 10 catches, I hope they stop the game for me. Like, moron. Why are you comparing 10 catches to breaking the NFL sack record? Like, I don't know where you thought in your mind that those two connect, or they're even remotely close to being the same thing there. But yeah, honestly, I think that the end of that basically sums up who the Bengals are right now. They have not a clue, and then they go out and they still lose the football game. Zach Taylor's talking about we were fighting for our lives out there.
Bro, that line was the line I had circled. We're fighting for our lives out there. I'm like, dude, you're fighting to go 7-10. Shut up.
And you lose anyway. Like, that's the kicker.
Moron. That could have been my, you got to be kidding me, if there wasn't so many dumb things that happened this week.
Actually was mine there, but I had something else listed here too. So we'll be
6-11 on the season. We're fighting for our lives out here. Shut up, you moron. Sorry. I can't wait. There's so many good things to talk about this week. Myles Garrett, shout out to getting the sack record. I wish he would have got it in 14 or 15 or 16 games. So I wouldn't have to hear Michael Strahan be like, well, he has the record for 17 games, and I have it for 16. The game's evolved. Do you think every guy that had the rushing record, receiving record on a 14-game season or a 12-game season are still being like, oh, this guy doesn't really have it anymore. Like,
I think I don't disagree with what you're saying, but like I remember like when baseball went from like 154 to like 162, and it's like it's such a small like difference. Like to your point, if he would have got like 22 in like week 15 and then added 3 or 4 more and got to like 26 or some crazy number, then nobody has anything to say. But it's like even like the baseball thing happened when it was like you started breaking records, but you're breaking it by like 2 RBIs, but you're playing like 8 more games. That's 32 more at bats. Like that matters. Like, you know, and the difference here is so minuscule. I hate it, but like he has a legit leg to stand on, and that's why, like I said, like a part of me was mad that like because at week 15, well, he was sitting at like 20 or 21, wasn't he? Like he was like
he got the 22 against Buffalo, so he's been sitting on it for 2 weeks.
Yeah, like somebody like the tackle couldn't have fallen over or something. Like,
well,
and then it all would have been, you know, it all would have been dandy. But
the real issue is that Pittsburgh would rather, they literally, if you watch the game against Pittsburgh, they basically said we'll rather lose than let Myles Garrett break the sack record against us, and that's exactly what happened. So, I mean, not much you could do there against that.
I do find the coaching carousel so interesting right now. I can't wait to get it. Can we get in the coaching carousel?
Absolutely. Just lead us right on in.
I'm so fired up for that. I am. Look, man, I find it hilarious, right? John Harbaugh was fired from the Baltimore Ravens. I don't care what John Harbaugh wants to sell it to the media that him and the Ravens came to an agreement. And then went out and said his agent went out and said 7 NFL teams already reached out. Well, John, let's take a second here. There's only 7 teams that are looking for a head coach, and the Ravens are one of those 7. So there's only 6. So then they kind of questioned that, and he just the Dolphins said they would fire Mike McDaniel if I would accept the job immediately. Like, are you kidding me? Can you imagine Mike McDaniel being like, well, if John doesn't take the job, I'll be back. Like, that's craziness. The second best odds to land John Harbaugh is a team that currently has a head coach. The second best odds to land John Harbaugh is a team that already has a coach.
I mean, I would lend a little bit of credence to what he said then.
I believe it happened.
I mean, I believe it happened too. I think that as soon as the report came out that Harbaugh got fired, you had already had an additional reports coming out that teams were going to be more willing to part with their head coach, like, you know, coach that you thought may have been safe or that had been marked safe at least to this point, were now kind of back on the hot seat because John Harbaugh was available, and I think that makes sense to me. I mean, John Harbaugh is, regardless of, you know, what has happened with Baltimore and, you know, them not necessarily meeting expectations of winning a Super Bowl in this Lamar Jackson era, John Harbaugh, in my opinion, is the top 15 coach in the NFL any way you slice it. So if you have the opportunity to go find them and hire them, then I 100% believe you got to look at some of those coaches that are still on your staff where you're like, I'm kind of iffy about you. Now Harbaugh's available. Yeah, if he wants to come here, you're going to be looking for a job. So polish off your resume because you won't be working here anymore.
Look, I don't think the Dolphins would be a very favorable market for John Harbaugh. John Harbaugh is going to have his pick of the litter. And if we're ranking the situations that you can walk into, the Ravens are automatically one, right?
Yep.
You're going to walk into a situation, you have an MVP quarterback, you have a Hall of Fame running back, you have 2 absolute staples on the defensive side of the ball, and Roquan Smith and Kyle Hamilton. That situation is set. It's just waiting for a coach to walk into it. Now, if you go 2 through 7 and you add the Dolphins, I think the Dolphins situation's worse than a lot of teams. I think the second best situation to walk into is the New York Giants. You have a franchise quarterback, you have a franchise running back, you have a franchise wide receiver, and you have 2 franchise edge rushers in Abdul Carter and Brian Burns. It's not really much work to do. Get a defensive coordinator that's got somewhat of a scheme and an offensive guy that can build up Jackson Dart, and that team's rolling. I think that's a better situation than Miami. I got news for you. You know what situation I would most like to take over if I was a head coach? The Las Vegas Raiders.
It's funny you said that because that's ultimately where I think he ends up. That's ultimately where I think he ends up.
Harbaugh?
Yep.
I think that Tom Brady's making a play to get Brian Flores as the head coach and Brian Dable as the OC. I think that's the play.
They're going to need a quarterback one way or the other.
Well, they have the first overall pick. You can get your franchise quarterback. You
I
got $100 million to spend on the line.
I hate to break it to anybody watching, but I don't think this is the year to get your franchise guy.
Couldn't agree more.
You guys don't think Fernando Mendoza could be a franchise quarterback?
No.
I don't see it. When I think
Dante Moore could be.
No.
I think Dante Moore could be down the line, but if I'm being honest, I think Dante Moore should go back to school for another year and get himself together. But in a weak quarterback class, you absolutely have to come out. Next year's quarterback class will be absolutely loaded. Dante Moore needs to come out, but I think for his development, it would make a ton of sense to go back to school and get ready, because I think he has a lot of flaws in his game. And if you're going to the Jets or the Raiders and you're getting thrown in there right away, I think that could be horrible for his development.
I agree wholeheartedly across the board.
Who's the next head coach of the New York Giants? I'll state it's John Harbaugh. That's for
I don't think so.
I think it'll be Joe Brady.
Okay. The odds list, John Harbaugh is 56%, Kevin Stefanski 17%, Mike McCarthy at 7%, Jeff Hafley at 5%, Cliff Kingsbury at 4%, and then a bunch of like Vance Joseph, Lou Anamorano, and Clint Kubiak.
I think Stefanski is one that, if you're the Giants, could make some sense there as well.
Ready for the next one?
Absolutely.
The Atlanta Falcons, odds to be their next head coach. It's a tie. That's what the odds say. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I sneakily kind of like Joe Brady to Atlanta.
See, this is another one where I think Stefanski would. I think it just depends on what they want to do at the quarterback position. I could also see them trying to make a splash, but at this point, I think they go with a vet. I think I could see Mike McCarthy ending up here.
Oh.
I think Stefanski.
I'm not saying it wrong. That should be a terrible hire.
I think Stefanski ends up there.
They got they have themselves a predicament now. So
yeah,
which is
if
kind of what we were afraid of was going to happen. So you're gonna have to move one of them.
Well, you don't have to move Kirk. You can cut Kirk. Michael Penix just isn't a franchise quarterback.
But I think if you bring in Stefanski, though, you have the familiarity with him being his former OC. So I would almost feel like Kirk would be like, all right, I can run his system. You saw how these last few games looked after Michael went out. Like, you throw me with my old OC, like maybe we can get this thing really rolling here.
I couldn't envision Mike McCarthy getting another head coaching job. He shouldn't. But if it is, it won't be Atlanta. I think that Stefanski is the move here. I think Harbaugh is the move in New York. And I just kind of where I'm at. Now, I'm kind of agreeing with the odds right now. I could be completely wrong. I normally go against the grain. I agree with these two odds on favorites. Ready for the next one?
Let's go.
The Oakland, Las Vegas Raiders.
This is Harbaugh for me.
You said that earlier. I give you that earlier. He's got the second highest odds for the Raiders.
See, I think they try to hit the flash in the pan. I'm going Clint Kubiak here.
Clint Kubiak is 3% is what it's listed at.
Still breathing.
I completely agree with the odds on this one. This is 3 in a row. I promise I won't continue going chalk, but Tom Brady being involved in that situation, he's going to want to bring in his New England guy. You got Brian Flores and Brian Dable. And I think that combination will be coaching the Las Vegas Raiders next year. Flores is the head coach. Rabel is the OC. Not Rabel. Brian Dable is the OC.
I was gonna say, I don't think Rabel's even knowing
No.
That's gonna be interesting.
Control, who you got for the Raiders? Oh, you said, sorry, Clint Kubiak, my fault.
Yep.
The next one is the Baltimore Ravens.
Now, this is the one that just that my mind.
There's just go ahead. I'll let you go first.
No, go ahead. No, go ahead.
Nah, this to me screams Brian Flores for me.
I'd love that. I would love that because you put that defense, Kyle Hamilton and Roquan Smith in that system. Holy, I don't even care what we're doing on offense.
No, that's I mean. I think Flores being a culture guy. I think they need to be. I think not that it was bad under Harbaugh. I just think it got too familiar. I think a lot of guys got too comfortable. I think Flores coming in, still being a player's coach, but being a little bit of a hard ass is exactly what they need. As long as he can bring in an OC and do something different with Lamar, that's the move for me. Because to your point, Brian Flores in charge of that defense. I think Baltimore. I think that's a great move for the Ravens.
Ew, I like that. Jesse Minter to Baltimore. That's
the odds-on favorite. I don't agree with it.
I mean, that's where he's from.
I think that'd be something that would make a lot of sense there. But I'm going on the opposite side of the ball. I'm going on the offensive side of the ball here, and I'm going with Gene's favorite coach, Cliff Kingsbury.
Oh,
Stinksbury.
Cliff Kings. I think they're going to try and find somebody that meshes with Lamar, and ultimately, I think that's the kind of hire they're going to make there. And
you go ruin another mobile quarterback.
The third one. For this one, I think it's Clint Kubiak. I think this is a perfect fit for him. I think that overall, I think they want to bring in an offensive guy. The Ravens have complained for years. The most unpopular person in Baltimore is the offensive coordinator because nothing ever is Lamar's fault. So Greg Roman, and now it's the guy from Georgia.
Todd Monken. I thought Todd Monken actually did a decent job.
I thought Todd Monken did a great job. I cannot believe that. I heard Brett, and I hope Brett's listening. I'm going to tag him. I want to tag Brett Gardner because he pissed me off. I love Brett, but he pissed me off. Anybody that is reading into that stat, well, Derrick Henry only ran the ball 6 times in the second half. I can't listen to you talk anymore. You don't deserve to talk football anymore. And I'm tagging you because I'm saying that because that's stupid. I'm sorry. He threw 2 60-yard touchdowns. When did you want him to run the ball? They scored 16 points in the second half, and they had the game-winning field goal 40 yards away. And you're blaming the OC, not the defensive coordinator, not Nate Wiggins, who fell down on his ass, not John Harbaugh, who decided, it's 43 yards. We just watched a kicker blow a kick to the right. Maybe we should get more yards. We have a timeout. No, we'll just center the ball. The person you need to blame for that is the defense, not the fucking OC or how many carries Derrick Henry got. That pisses me off when someone says that. I'm like, what did you watch? And by the way, they had 2 70-yard touchdowns. One might have been 60, whatever it was. They had 2 monster touchdowns to Zay Flowers, and they had one called back because of a penalty. Like, what were you watching? They found the weakness in Pittsburgh's defense, and they exploited it over and over and over again. They ran the same concept 3 times, and it worked all 3 times. Like, Derrick Henry didn't run the ball. And they're talking about that he had a lead. They had to stay at a lead. No, the last 3 times Lamar Jackson touched the ball, he walked onto the field without the lead and left the field with the lead, and with a 43-yard field goal to gain the lead. That's not on the offensive coordinator. Everyone wants to blame Todd Monken. It's not Todd Monken's fault that the kid missed a field goal. Sorry, I'm done.
I mean, I think though to that point though, it's while I don't agree necessarily for that Steelers game, I do think that had been a topic of conversation throughout the entire season with Derrick Henry about the fourth quarter and him not getting touches, especially after having really good first halves and things like that. So I think that's more so a combination of things there and not necessarily just that one game. And I'm not sure exactly how Brett had it in context there, but I do know that was a gripe there, just kind of watching those Ravens teams moving forward there throughout the back half of the season where Derrick Henry wasn't getting many touches in the second half. Now, I agree with you. In that Steelers game, he didn't get that many touches because he didn't necessarily need to. Personally, I would have liked to see him have 7 touches because after you pick up that first down, there is absolutely no way where I'm just, taking a knee there and not trying to get any more yards. I'm giving the ball to Derrick Henry. We're going to see what he has there. If he gets nothing, he gets nothing. We still miss, so be it. But I would at least give him another touch there, try to get closer. I wouldn't have necessarily just settled for that field goal. I said it would have happened. But at the end of the day, I'm with you. You can't be mad at your OC because you miss a 43-yard field goal and you lose the football game as a result of that.
This is also a great point. Derrick Henry had 3 fumbles this year, and it led to 3 losses. All 3 of the fumbles that he had were in the worst possible times he could have them. Week 1 versus Buffalo, week 3 versus the Lions, and I think it was week 15 versus the Patriots. All 3 of those fumbles directly led to losses.
Moral of the story is easy. Justin Tucker would have made that kick.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of rich for you can't expect the Ravens to keep Justin Tucker, shall we?
No,
it's more funny than anything. But just for the record, I mean,
he would have.
Deshaun Watson's back in the league.
No, but I follow. But for all the criticism, see, this is why I don't want to be a hypocrite.
Not this. That was a tongue-in-cheek comment. Yeah. Nobody agrees that he should have been in the game.
Perfect.
We don't.
I just want to make sure we're on the same page because I heard that in the chat, and I want to make sure that we're on the same page.
No, it was just a funny comment. He would have made it though.
I don't disagree with you. Guy's got ice water in his veins.
Yeah, can't keep his dick in his pants though. So here we are.
All right, next coaching job. So for the Ravens, I have Clint Kubiak. Katrell is Stinksbury. Who did you have, Shell?
Our man Flores.
Right, Flores. The Arizona Cardinals.
Who cares?
Facts. Mistake. Whatever happens here is a mistake. That's just what the Cardinals do. So let's see who can be.
You know who the top 2 odds coaches are for the Cardinals?
Oh God,
no idea.
Vance Joseph and Mike McCarthy.
Yeah, exactly. 2 mistakes.
There you go.
I was literally thinking, mistakes. Like, what coordinator would I not want to hire? You know what? Lou Anarumo from he was the Bengals DC when they went on the run in Super Bowl, but I'll go Lou Anarumo.
Can I ask a question? I've seen Matt Nagy on these odds lists like 4 or 5 times. What the hell has Matt Nagy done besides ruin the Chiefs season to get another head coaching job? I'm
not saying you're wrong, but to Cottrell's statement, he would fit in the category here of being a mistake.
I mean,
I got a fun prediction for Arizona.
The league always wants somebody from the Andy Reid tree. They just want to try and pluck it, see if they hit on it. Everybody except Bieniemy, but everybody else is good.
I have a fun prediction for Arizona. It's probably not right, but I just thought it would be fun. John Gruden.
That ain't gonna work. Listen, I'm here for it. John Gruden and Kyler Murray are probably. I hope they get Hard Knocks. That's all I know, because I would love to watch those conversations.
Well, I don't Kyler's going to be a Cardinal by the start of next season.
It's true too, but
Oh, you're not going to believe this. The Tennessee Titans are the next team on this list. And the odds-on favorite. Heavy odds-on favorite. Anyone want to take a guess?
No.
I'm afraid the way you're talking about it like this.
Matt Nagy.
It's like it's mind-boggling to me. Like you have Mike Vrabel in the building, and now it's literally just been bags of shit since. Like the dude had one bad season. You're like, you got to go, and now like it's like a free for all.
The
Nice
funny
one,
thing is,
Steve.
I got a lot of flack for saying Brian Callahan was a terrible hire. I said he was a terrible hire.
You pluck anything from the Bengals, it's a bad hire.
I think that they need to be really careful on who they hire for the next head coach. Because the people that they're interviewing right now, they just did an interview with the Clapper, Jason Garrett. Who do you guys got for the Tennessee Titans?
I'm going with Lou Holtz coming out of retirement.
I think they go offensive mind. See, this is another one where I think Stefanski could fit. Who did I say originally for the Giants job?
Would he want that job?
If he wants to be a head coach, and he has to.
Do you want to be that? That team's just not close.
I'll go Stefanski for the Titans.
I hate to say it, but I could actually see that. It's such a bad job, man.
They got a ton of money, and they have.
I know they got the new stadium and everything, but they're
QB.
just so far. They're so far away. I mean,
I got Mike LaFleur.
Who?
Mike LaFleur.
Guy LaFleur. Maybe. I mean, with Tennessee, who knows? I mean,
It's an offensive guy that can build with a very similar system to what Sean McVay runs because he's running the system in LA. I think it'll be a perfect fit for Cam Ward. I think Mike LaFleur should be their hire. I think Mike LaFleur will be their hire. I refuse to believe they will hire McCarthy or Nagy to coach Cam Ward. I just can't. I think he needs a young, upstart offensive coordinator to help take him to the next level.
I think Stefanski, like, that could work. I think he was bringing like Steichen or somebody with him.
Last but not least, the Cleveland Browns.
Should be fun.
You guys probably won't see this here, but I'm going with a guy who's currently employed. I got Sean McDermott as the next coach of the Cleveland Browns.
Okay. What about Chris?
What?
What about Chris Shula?
No, I'm good.
It's not a hell of a job with that defense, bro.
Gina McDermott. So I guess that kind of pretty much says everything there for that. I'm going Dable.
I think Dable's going to be our OC.
I don't think Dable will take an OC job in Cleveland.
Not with McDermott.
I don't think he'll do
No.
it. It's a terrible place to live.
Do you know something that we don't? Like you're pretty adamant that McDermott's getting whacked.
He has like I love Control. He has like the all-star coaching cast going to Cleveland.
Yeah.
Like I know you live there. I know that's like local to you.
I mean, it's no worse than Philadelphia to live.
100% worse than Philadelphia.
I've lived in both.
We're not doing this.
I've lived in both. Trust me.
He was in Fairwood Hills. Like,
it's gonna be. I mean, I'm not gonna be disrespectful.
I will. I don't give a shit. I think Columbus is a lot better than Cleveland. I agree.
I agree with that. But Columbus is still a shithole, and that's not even an Ohio State
I don't think
thing.
Columbus is a shithole.
Nah, it's so grange, blah.
This guy.
It's just
you must have came in like October or November.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of places that are beautiful in October and November, not Columbus.
Not Philadelphia either, buddy.
No, that's wrong. It's wrong. There's number one city in the country to visit next year. Well, this year, actually.
If you have a death wish?
Oh, please.
Bro, I feel like that you're taking pot shots back, but I feel like the universal opinion is you don't want to go to Cleveland. LeBron James, your hero, even said like Cleveland's not an easy spot to attract free agents because no
I agree
one
with that.
play there.
I agree with that.
Okay,
As far as basketball side of things go,
but
but
when you're hot shots at the Cleveland Browns, I'm just telling you, Cleveland is like a top 35 place to live in the country. Like,
but
it's
you,
top 10.
if you're looking at it, if you're looking at it from a football standpoint, though, you have not a general manager, but you have an owner that is willing to spend whatever amount of money to put forth a good team. They went out and made the trade for Deshaun Watson. Obviously, it didn't work out, but like you try and make that splash move. You go out and you trade for Odell Beckham Jr. Obviously, it didn't work out, but like that's a splash move. You go out, get Jarvis Landry. He was a good piece for you. I'm just saying that I would want to go somewhere where the owner is willing to spend money and you know he's going to stay out the way. And Kevin Stefanski got 6 years here, and I think he deserved to 100% be here for all 6 of them there. I'm just saying, if you have a plan, the owner in Cleveland will do whatever he can to help you put that plan in place and make it happen.
Whose decisions were all those signings then? Like all the GMs? Because then you guys retain your GM.
Yeah, I mean, they retained Barry, but before that, you had Dorsey there.
All right, so Cleveland's going to line up next year with McDermott, Dable at OC, and I get Flores at DC, I guess.
He's got the all-star coaching cast.
Yes, it's better. It's the coaching staff better than the team.
DC, you retain Jim Schwartz. That's easy.
Yeah, I don't know how many.
Ultimately, though, I think
you can keep him.
I think
I like Jim Schwartz.
Harbaugh is another one that intrigues me, especially after his comments about everybody that
another one.
His whole family loves Cleveland. His whole family loves Cleveland. He grew up a Browns fan.
His whole family's never been to Cleveland.
He grew up a Browns fan. His family's from Cleveland.
I heard Andy Reid leaving Kansas City.
They're from California.
I love it.
Jim, those were the words from John Harbaugh's mouth himself. Look it up.
Listen, I hope to God that the Browns get everybody. I think the Browns are great. I've said this. You know what the funny thing is this? For me saying how shitty of a place it is to live in Cleveland, I've said this time and time again. I think Browns fans are top 5 fans in football. I really, truly. So I'll compliment them, but I'll be honest, and I get shit on for being honest. I think Cleveland's a shitty place to live. I think Cleveland's also a bunch of blue-collar, tough, awesome football fans that rival Philadelphia, Buffalo, and Green Bay.
All right. I'll counter that. Is Baltimore a great place to live? No, but it's the best job in the coaching carousel. You necessarily think about places where
Cleveland's in the middle of nowhere.
Baltimore.
That's not true. Cleveland's on the water, dude. Their stadium's their new stadium's gonna literally be on the water.
On a river, yeah.
Lake.
It's a lake. It's a lake, right?
It is Lake
Erie.
Yeah,
it's Lake Erie. What are you talking about?
That Philly.
Whoa! I just said it was on a lake. Don't throw it. That's him.
Yeah.
When is that opening? By the way,
2030.
Jesus Christ, you guys built slow out there.
They'll fire 2 more coaches and have another.
It's not about building slow. It's about we talked about this earlier during Hot Wire.
In the lake.
When you sign contracts, when you sign contracts, you got to honor them
brick by brick. Guys, at 8 o'clock.
Who do you got? Who do you got getting? I want to hear both of you. Who you got going to the Browns?
I said Dable. He's only good. He's only good enough to be your OC, but I think he's really good.
I'd take Dable as our head coach in a heartbeat.
I listen. I went back and forth between Don Shula, Tom Landry.
Don Shula. Oh, all right, you're going that route for real. Okay, go ahead.
I'm kidding. So for the Cleveland
Browns,
I already told you. I thought it would be Chris Shula. I think Chris Shula would be a great hire for them.
I just think Cleveland is such like an interesting case, man. Because it's like you have like a defense that's ready, but like, and if we're really being honest, like I feel like that offense is not close.
You're 100% right. I mean, there's no.
So it's like who wants to come in and just be like, we're going to lose every game 20-17 until like 3 or 4 years from now we can draft somebody and turn everything around. Unless you're going with Shador, but I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that doesn't work out, but I'm just saying I don't think anybody knows if that's going to work out yet.
I'll put it this way: I think Cleveland is like 100 times better of a job than Arizona is, than the Cardinals.
No, I agree. I
think
agree.
it's a better job than Tennessee is.
Agreed.
I think it's a better job than a lot of places. Like I don't want to rebuild with no money like Atlanta has to. Atlanta's screwed. They got Bijan, Drake London, a decent defense, and no money.
Yeah.
So if Michael Penix isn't the guy, they're screwed.
And the other thing with Cleveland is that you got to realize that the Deshaun Watson contract finally comes to an end after next season. So you're going to have a bunch of money freed up for you. And you also have 3 top 40 picks this upcoming year. You got 2 first rounders. You have an early second rounder. So I think that makes it somewhat enticing there as well. And let's not forget I know they were 5-12 this year, but Browns have like 6 one-score losses this year. With better coaching, I mean, you could easily be a 8-win team this past year. Not to mention a piece that you could potentially bring in there. So I don't think the Browns are that far off of being just competitive. Not like Super Bowl contenders or anything like that, but just competitive.
Oh, no,
especially in a weak AFC North. Like we saw how weak it was this year.
Okay.
How many ones do you have?
2.
Yeah, I think the Browns are actually a good job. I've said that multiple times. I just don't think they want to live.
Give up all the ones. And
I don't think they're going to attract a high-profile offensive coordinator because they're not going to want to make non-head coaching money living in Cleveland. Like if I was attracting a high-profile DC, Dallas would be an attraction. I hate that, but Brian Flores, if he doesn't get a head coaching job, is probably going to end up as the Cowboys DC.
And see what happens with that. You have Matty Eberflus ultimately ended up in Dallas, and James Schwartz is in Cleveland. Like again, for me, destination doesn't always get the best defensive minds, the best offensive minds.
When you bring in Dable and you go trade for JoJo.
All right, gentlemen, we have a new little fun trivia segment today.
Wrinkle.
The wrinkle. We got a wrinkle. Okay.
Okay.
So this is what we're going to do. I need both you guys to pull out your notes, the notes tab. Just click the notes. That'll actually hide the comments, so we don't have to worry about that. Is that fair?
Yep.
I got to go back to this.
This is now called a mine, okay? This is a mine. You cannot step on the mine. You know, in the field, when you step on the bomb, you stepped on the landmine. This is called don't step on the mine. So you see the top 10 receivers on that list: Marvin Jones, DeAndre Hopkins, Dez Bryant, Alshon Jeffrey, Tyler Lockett, Mike Evans, AJ Green, T.Y. Hilton, Justin Jefferson, and Slant Boy Michael Thomas.
Slant Boy.
So you write down those 10 names. Make sure you know those 10 names. What your goal is to do is to not hit the mine. So you don't want to get number 1. You want to eliminate 9 of these names, and you're going to go back and forth. And we have a best of 3. So if somebody wins the first 2, they win. But if you can get the mine on the first shot, and then the game's over. So going first isn't really helpful. It's just not hitting the mine first. So here's the game. Most receiving yards in a single game.
Oh,
so your goal is to not hit one of these guys' highest receiving yards game being number 1. Number 1 is the only one that eliminates you. If you put number 10, number 9, number 8, you have to eliminate people until someone hits the mine. So Shally, I think that you're winning right now. Yeah. I think that you won. I don't know if you won, but I'm doing this. You won. Would you like to go first or second in the mine game?
I'll go first. I'll probably blow this up.
Eliminate someone on this list. Most receiving yards. The only thing you don't want to get is number 1, the highest out of these 10 players. Marvin Jones, DeAndre Hopkins, Dez Bryant, all of them. You see the whole list.
I'll go Alshon Jeffrey.
You have hit the mine on the first shot. You are
Sweet.
eliminated. Cottrell, without even giving an answer, you have won. I don't know how you did that, Chow. The game never works that way. So Alshon Jeffrey had 249 receiving yards in one game. It's the highest of any of the 10 others on the list. 9 others on the list.
That's actually crazy. That was the first name out of your mouth. I 100% thought you were going Marvin Jones.
Marvin Jones.
See, that one stuck out to me. I was like, he probably had some wild game that I don't remember.
I'm sure he probably did, but
and I was like, not picking him.
10 was Tyler Lockett, 9 was Marvin Jones, 8 was Mike Evans, 7 was Michael Thomas, 6 AJ Green, 5 T.Y. Hilton, 4 Justin Jefferson, 3 Des Bryant, 2 DeAndre Nuke Hopkins, and 1 was Alshon Jeffrey. So the next one, totally different question. It's still a mine. You can go first or second. Actually, Cottrell, you haven't given an answer. You can't win without giving an answer. Here's the next group of receivers. Some of them are repeats. Odell Beckham Jr., Mike Wallace, A.J. Brown, George Kittle, Jarvis Landry, Jordy Nelson, Greg Jennings, Marvin Jones Jr., Michael Crabtree, and Robert Woods, Bobby Trees. Most career receiving yards. The only one you do not want to hit is the one who has the most career receiving yards on this list. So give me the person that has the least, Cottrell.
well, I don't know who has the least, but I'll go with the one who only had a strong peak there. I'll go with OBJ.
Odell Beckham Jr. was number 5 with 7,987. You are safe. Gally.
I'll go Mike Wallace.
Mike Wallace, 8,072 was number 4. You are safe.
I'm going to go with Michael Crabtree.
Michael Crabtree. There's no sorry ass receivers on this list. He's number 9, 7,499.
Jesus Christ. I'll go Jordy Nelson.
You have hit the
Hit the
landmine.
mine. Yep.
I'm the fucking best at this game.
So, Cottrell, you have won this week. It was a quick trivia. It was fun. It was quick.
Sure.
But I'll read out the list.
Fucking Lieutenant Dan over here with no legs anymore.
Marvin Jones Jr. was number 10 with 7,421. Michael Crabtree was number 9. A.J. Brown was number 8. George Kittle, number 7. Jarvis Landry, number 6. Right behind his old buddy, Odell Beckham Jr. at 5. Mike Wallace was 4. Bobby Trees was 3. Greg Jennings was 2. And Jordy Nelson with 8,587 yards, 1,000 more than Marvin Jones. Was your landmine?
I truly thought it was either Jordy or Greg because they play with Aaron and Brett. Like, figure they had to get a
But he
20
never had a good wide receiver.
This is shall we let you set up the whole board and just walked over and flipped the table.
That's pretty much it. It's like as soon as you finish the puzzle, I was like, fuck you, flip the table over.
Well, Cottrell, you've won the first trivia of 2026.
New year, new me, baby.
Yeah, I'm loving it. 1-0 Cottrell. So come with some fun next week. It doesn't have to be a top 10 list, but give us some fun, give us some entertainment, and let's continue on with our show. We got wild card weekend ahead of us. Before we get into wild card weekend, I want to talk about Steelers Ravens just one more time. Quickly.
Tucker would have made it.
I don't disagree with you. If I had to put on a pie chart of what was most to blame for the Ravens losing that football game, and I gave you 4 options: John Harbaugh, Lamar Jackson, Kyle Hamilton's injury, or Tyler Loop. How would you play that pie chart?
Can there be a write-in vote?
What would be the write-in vote?
Justin Tucker.
Well,
If he wasn't an idiot, he'd have been there kicking, and then none of this would have mattered.
say Tyler
For
Loop.
serious, listen, I'm gonna go with Loop, and this is why. At the end of the day, you're an NFL kicker. Like, if that was from like 58 and you missed, that's one thing. It's 44. He was the one that made it easy for them to be like, all joking aside and being serious, for them to be like, we came to entertain bringing Tucker back or after he gets suspended or anything. This is the kid we're going with. It's a 44-yard kick. Like, they got him there. I understand things always lead up to, there's always things you go back in the game and look at, blah, blah, blah. I get it. The kid gets paid to make field goals. 44 yards. I mean, it was no good off his foot. Like, he has to kick a better kick. I hate to say it, but he just does. Like, that ball never had a chance. When it comes down to it, your job is to make that play and to yeah, that one's funny. That's what you get paid to do. And that's why kickers are, it's a high stress position, because come this time of year, you're gonna have, those are the kicks you have to make. And
so you have Loop being one.
Loop's one for me.
Okay. Do you have anybody else you want to add second or third, or do you want to just leave it there?
I'm just gonna go with one.
Okay. Control?
I mean, I think Loop definitely deserves the largest portion of that pie. Kyle Hamilton's injury definitely plays a part too, because I don't think the Steelers score that last drive if he's out there on the field. But at the end of the day, I don't really think it matters. I think some blame has to also go on John Harbaugh, because, like I mentioned before, I would have tried to still get closer, even, in that 43, 44-yard range there. But I also think some blame also has to go on Lamar, because while he bought out in the second half, you're an MVP caliber quarterback. You got to put up points in the first half there as well. I think that, smaller chunk goes there, but I would probably go 80% Tyler Loop. I'll go 75% Tyler Loop. I'll go 10% John Harbaugh, and then I'll give 5% to Lamar Jackson and 5% to Kyle Hamilton's injury.
I'll go 30% to Kyle Hamilton's injury. I think it's the most important thing that happened in that game. The Steelers could not move the ball at all. He was jumping the bubble screens. He was reading the defense great. And as soon as he got injured, that Steelers team went from having 0 points to 26. That's number one to me. Number two would be Luke missing the field goal. Number three would be John Harbaugh. And the main reason John Harbaugh would be to blame for this is, how in the hell do you think, after watching Chris Boswell, one of the best kickers in the NFL, miss an extra point, do you think 43 yards is, okay, it's fine? Why would we not try to throw or even hand the ball to Derrick Henry to get more yards up the middle? You had the time out. You had the time to do it. It was embarrassing to me. So I was not thrilled with that. And then, I'll add a little bit to, I don't think Lamar deserves any. I know that he threw the pick in the first half. I know they were up 10-0 in the first half. He threw 18 passes and 3 were touchdowns. I'm not blaming a guy that was halfway injured that still had 120 quarterback rating. And every time he left the field in the fourth quarter, he left with the lead, or he left with the opportunity to kick a field goal to win the game. I'm not blaming Lamar for that. But that's where I'm at. All right, let's get into wild card weekend. I just wanted to get into that because it was very, very interesting how everything played out. Let's do it in order. And then if you want, we could do a little playoff bracket. See where we're at. Ooh.
I'm down.
Ooh.
So let's start here. 10.5-point spread is ridiculous for an opening game. Saturday afternoon, You have the LA Rams, who just 3-4 weeks ago went to Carolina and lost, are traveling to Carolina to take on the Panthers. Panthers literally back into a playoff spot. They lose
Shout
a
out to the
playoff.
Falcons.
What?
Shout out to the Falcons.
You have a team that walks in to Tampa Bay and loses, then gets the pull for Atlanta. Now they make the playoffs. They're taking on an LA Rams team that everyone expects to make the Super Bowl. How do you see this game playing out, Troy?
Well, if you guys remember, the Rams were my preseason pick to win the Super Bowl.
Brag about it.
I mean, you guys had the Eagles, so I mean, it's not like it's crazy. That's everybody's still here. But with that said, though, I like the Rams in this game, and I actually like them to roll. I think it would be slightly different if the first game didn't happen the way that it did, but I think you would be crazy to believe that this doesn't play in the Rams' minds, or them not think that they have the ability to lose this football game. Like, I think it'd be a completely different story. It's like, oh, we're just faced 8-9 Panthers here. They just lost last week. They're, not great, but they've already lost to this football team. So I definitely think that's going to play a part in this. They're going to get Devontae Adams back for this football game as well. I think the Rams roll in this one, and I think they put a hurting on the Panthers at home.
I like it.
I think it's a little bit of a game for probably like a quarter and a half, maybe. To Gene's point, I hate to dread it, especially the earliest game, earliest slot. LA coming from the other coast, going to Carolina. Carolina does play drastically better at home than they do away. But that being said, they held Devontae out again. They're gonna be healthy. They're gonna be healthy. Both wide receivers, Blake Corum, Kyron Williams, are gonna be two-headed monster in the backfield. Matt Stafford's having an MVP like year. He might end up being the MVP. We'll see. But I agree with Cottrell. I think it's a feisty game for a little bit, and then I think the second half, I think LA just pulls away, and I don't think there's much drama in this game in the second half.
I think this is going to be a football game.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be a very, very, very close football game.
You're wrong, but yeah. Just kidding.
I think Matthew Stafford will lead I think the Rams are reeling right now. They were in a game way too long with the Arizona Cardinals last week. They just got beat 2 weeks ago by Atlanta. I don't think they're in the best shape. And I think that Carolina is going to be able to run the football like they did previously with Rico Dowdle, Chuba Hubbard. I think this is a football game. I think at halftime, the Panthers have the lead.
Oh,
10, 16-13, 14-13, something like that.
Well, first half
I think that the Rams
teaser.
win the football game 27-24. But I think it's absolutely a football game.
So you think it's a dogfight?
Plus the points, but I'll take the Rams to win.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah, absolutely.
You mentioned their struggles the last couple of weeks, and I don't disagree. They haven't played great. But how much do you think that is teams just absolutely selling out to take Puka away, and now having Devontae back, you're really not going to be able to do that?
I don't know how healthy Devontae is. That hamstring looked terrible when he pulled it.
You're right.
And that was 3 weeks ago at this point. I don't know how healthy he is either. So, I mean, I think that's a good point. But he better be – this is the healthiest he's going to have the opportunity to look.
I think that his defense is a lot better than people give it credit for. I also think that they got cheated in that football game versus Tampa Bay.
Oh, absolutely. I was saying that through our text thread. Refs definitely had Bucks money line in that game.
Let's go to the 8 o'clock game. It's another NFC game. The Green Bay Packers, hobbled, beaten, bruised, head into Soldier Field to take on the Chicago Bears and Caleb Williams. I'll start with this one. We'll basically just do our little loop, and 2 out of 3 we'll make the decision. I'm going with the upset Give me the Green Bay Packers. The Packers have played the Bears twice this year and have led for the entire game in both football games. The only difference is Romeo Dobbs couldn't fall on an extra point or fall on an onside kick. Jordan Love, I'll go with experience. I'll go with the Green Bay Packers run game. I think Josh Jacobs will be able to run the football. I'll take the Packers in this one. Close game, maybe like 16-10.
You're a Metro.
You're in the middle. Or I can go. It doesn't matter.
Good.
All right. I'm taking the Chicago Bears in this one. I do agree with Gene. I think this is going to be one of those ugly, lower scoring football games here. But I also think these two teams are kind of in different situations here. I think Kyler Gordon has just been activated, or his window has been opened up, so they could be potentially getting him back there. Roma Odunze is expected to play this week there as well. While on the flip side of it for the Packers, Jordan Love is, getting out of concussion protocol. Malik Willis has basically already been ruled out of the game on Saturday. So, you do have question marks there. Josh Jacobs has been banged up. With all that said, this is that in-division rivalry, so I do think it's still going to be tight there, but I just think that the Bears are slightly healthier at this time, and I think that's going to prove dividends for them. So I like the Bears in this one. I'll go 20-16.
Okay.
I think Green Bay is the better football team. I think they are so banged up. You mentioned Josh Jacobs, the receiving core. Jordan Love coming off a really bad concussion. You already mentioned Malik Willis already being ruled out in case something happens to Love. No Micah Parsons, obviously. I think at home, I don't. It's hard for me to trust Chicago. As good as they looked a couple weeks ago, and then they laid a dud against Detroit, who couldn't stop anybody for a month. They barely put up 16 points. That was all in the fourth quarter. Oh God. I'm going with Chicago. I'm gonna go with Chicago at home to pull one out of that. Mainly, really just off Green Bay's health. I think if Green Bay was healthy, I think this would be one of the easier games to pick in opening weekend. But they are really banged up.
With that said, though, I do want to ask you guys, if LaFleur does lose this game, he is in a spot where he's due for an extension here. Do you see him being the coach of the Packers next year? Do you think he is another one that is a part of the carousel?
I think that he's still the coach if he wins. Or
no, if he loses.
I know. I think he's still the coach one way or the other.
I agree. I think if he loses,
I think the only coach that's on a hot seat in this weekend is Mike Tomlin. Undeservingly, but I think he's the only one on a hot seat.
I think he stays the coach no matter what.
All right, let's move on to the 1:00 game. Maybe Cottrell thinks that this coach is on the hot seat. The Sean McDermott led, the newest Cleveland Browns head coach, Sean McDermott. Buffalo Bills go into Jacksonville to take on the Jaguars, and the 13-4 MVP candidate Trevor Lawrence. What do you guys got in this one? Trell starts off.
I'm taking Jacksonville. I think this is a spot where I do believe that Sean McDermott is on the hot seat. Even if he doesn't come to Cleveland, I still believe he's on the hot seat here. I think that all the pressure is on him. And it sounds kind of crazy to be the coach of a 6 seed and have all the pressure on you. But, at least on the AFC side of things here, you have, without a shadow of a doubt, the best quarterback, that's going here in the playoffs. And, Pat's not there. Lamar's not there. Joe's not there. So I do think the pressure will be on for you to take care of business this year. Is that fair? I don't know. I think I'm somewhere in the middle. I would like to see that Buffalo team have better receivers out there for Josh, but at the same time, you got to capitalize on this window when you can. So with all that said, though, I like the Jaguars in this one. I think at home they're going to do a good job of running the football. Buffalo's been struggling to stop the run there, and I think that's gonna prove to be the difference maker in this one. And Josh is gonna have to put on the cape, and I just don't see it happening at the end.
I couldn't agree more. I think all the pressure in this game is on Buffalo. I know it's a home game for Jacksonville, but I mean, with their situation, I don't think it's the end of the world if they would lose. We've talked about on this show numerous times this year about the window for Josh, and how this year, it's not going to get any easier than it's probably going to be this year. I think Josh and maybe James Cook is the only place I think that Buffalo is maybe better than Jacksonville. And, that being said, the way Trevor Lawrence is playing right now, I think you could argue that. So, and Travis Etienne is no slouch by any means. So, I like Jacksonville's matchup against Buffalo's defense a lot. Cottrell already mentioned they're struggling, to stop the run. And Trevor Lawrence is playing out of his mind right now. So I think at home, we saw a version of this Trevor Lawrence a couple years ago in Kansas City, where he, debatably could have won the football game against Patrick. I think he takes care of business at home. I really do. I think Jacksonville wins by at least a touchdown.
I don't even have to vote on this. I would have voted for the Buffalo Bills, but you guys picking my Jacksonville Jaguars, my AFC squad, I'm with it. I'm all about it.
Now the AFC squad, Jesus Christ!
My AFC squad, guys. If you haven't noticed,
if you would have said Trevor Lawrence, my AFC guy, I wouldn't have said a word. But I don't want to hear.
Bro, I haven't heard Gene talk about the Jags in 3 years.
I've been a big Trevor Lawrence fan.
Yeah, and then you went into hiding for the 3 years.
It's been 2 years. It's only been 2.
He beat Justin Herbert in the playoffs. Was the loudest person in the world about that.
Yeah, and then afterwards you're like, maybe Trevor Lawrence isn't that guy. Before Liam Cohen got there, I'm just saying.
4:00. By the way, just to be clear, my 3 picks this week are the Packers and the Bills. So you guys are against both my picks. And my third pick, and I'll start this one. I don't think I've been this confident about a Philadelphia Eagles playoff game in a long, long time.
Oh, boy.
I think the Eagles absolutely bludgeon the 49ers. 35-13. Don't think the game's close. Don't give San Francisco any credit. I'll make it even stronger for you. Christian McCaffrey is hurt. It's very obvious. He looked terrible last week versus Seattle. George Kittle is hurt. He played through a huge injury last week, did not look his best. Trent Williams didn't play. He's got a hamstring injury. The 49ers defensive line is last in the league at getting pressure on the quarterback. I love Philadelphia this week. What I tell you guys about money, I follow the money a lot. The Eagles opened up a 3.5-point favorite versus San Francisco 49ers. 80% of the money is on the 49ers. Well, that means the spread should be 2.5 now. It's 4.5. Vegas knows Philadelphia Eagles dominate this football game. 35-13. It'll be a snooze fest in the fourth quarter. You're going to see Tanner McKee taking snaps. I love the Eagles in this football game. Love.
I think the Eagles win. I am not as confident as Gene. But
easiest first round matchup.
I do think they pose a bunch of problems for San Francisco, especially defensively. Again, this we've talked about it this year with the people that have left, people that have been hurt. This is not San Francisco's defense from 2 years ago. It's a shell of itself. So I think as long as Jalen, does Jalen things and spreads the ball around and they get Saquon going, and they stay balanced, I think they're going to pose a lot of problems for that defense. And offensively, like Gene said already, C-Mac's not 100%. Kittle's not 100%. I think Quinyon Mitchell's going to be on Juwan Jennings. That's going to take that away for the most part. I don't know where else they're going to go. So I like the Eagles again. Not as confident, as a bludgeoning as Gene thinks it's going to be, but I do think the Eagles win.
True ass kicking.
Yeah, I don't know about. I think it's a dominant performance from the Eagles there as well. Them scoring 35. Have they scored 35 at all this season?
Watch your mouth.
I'm just asking a question. I'm asking a genuine question here. If they have, it could not have been, multiple games there.
Yeah, just watch your tone.
33 versus the Rams, 31 versus the Bucs. Hold on.
Not 35.
38 versus the Giants.
Okay, that's one.
Yeah, that's basically it.
Okay. With that said, I think this is a dominant performance from the Eagles. I do think it's also going to be a snooze fest. I think this is going to be a lot of defense. I think Philly's going to take their shots when they can. I got the Eagles winning this game 20-6, and what absolutely will be a snooze fest. Again, I think Philly, you're going to see some explosive plays here and there from them, but I still think they are, figuring things out on offense there. And even if they can, blow the doors off this team, I think it's going to be at a point where you're going to realize where, all right, even if we do have it clicking, let's not put too much stuff out there on film, like what we're doing now that's successful. And so I think they keep that game low scoring, but pretty much dominate the entire way.
Gene, give me your player of the game.
Saquon Barkley.
Okay. I'm going Slim Reaper.
Dallas Goedert.
I also think Jalen Carter has a massive game. The interior of that 49ers, the offensive line, is beaten, bruised, bludgeoned.
That guy should be fresh.
Oh my God. It's gonna be a game, baby.
Jalen and Jordan going to eat.
Jordan eats enough. I'm kidding.
Wow.
So he's actually in the best shape to play.
Wow.
All right. Sunday night football. The New England Patriots are hosting the Los Angeles Superchargers. And Gene's Super Bowl pick from the AFC, the Chargers, from before the season started. I don't know how confident I feel about that anymore.
I thought they were your long shots. I thought you had somebody else.
Well,
I forgot who.
The Ravens.
Yeah, I had the Ravens too. So I feel you.
This fall, yeah. I mean, this falls in the same category as the Green Bay Chicago game for me. We've seen New England kind of struggle against the better teams. The Chargers are just. If there's a team that's decimated, it's probably them. They're on third string left tackles and right tackle. I don't think their starting guard's going to play. It's going to be interesting. I think it's a close, low-scoring game. I think they'll come into game plan and it'll work. It's just going to be another year of where, Justin Herbert's got to figure it out and get over the hump. But I think he's going to be an uphill battle against that defense. So I think the Patriots win a very kind of ugly, low-scoring type affair.
Control.
What if I told you that the Patriots haven't beat a playoff team since October?
I believe you.
I believe that.
I think that this is one of those games where the Patriots are 100% ahead of schedule. I think regardless of, how much of a home run hire we all thought Mike Vrabel would be, I don't think anybody had them sitting this high up, hosting a, home playoff game and taking care of that division, finishing ahead of Buffalo. So I think that this Patriots team is 100% ahead of schedule. And I think they kind of overachieved this year. And I think they took advantage of the schedule that they had. With that said, I'm rolling with the Chargers in this one. Look, I understand that they're battered, but I still think that defense ultimately will come to play. And I think Justin Herbert will rise to the occasion here and take care of business in this football game. I like the Chargers to absolutely steal this football game. This screams to me we're going to lean on our defense and Omari and Hampton to, control time of possession, things like that. And like I said, I like the Chargers to win probably a 3-point game when it's all said and done.
Dicker the kicker.
27-26.
Ooh.
I think this game's going to be phenomenal. I think the Chargers are going to come out early, and I think they're going to get an early lead, and I think Harbaugh is going to coach a hell of a football game. Guy knows how to win big football games. With that being said, I think Rabel and Drake May will make that comeback, and I think the home team will end up prevailing. I have the New England Patriots win this one, but in slimmest of margins.
You see it basically exactly how I see it. I just think Chargers walk it off.
That's fair. I'm with you. I think the game is going to be very close. And then the last game, Monday Night Football. The best defense in football, the Houston Texans, with the second best defensive player in football, Will Anderson Jr., travel to Pittsburgh and play the Pittsburgh Steelers, Aaron Rodgers. I don't think Mike Tomlin's lost a home game on Monday Night Football in like 10 years. Steelers hosting Texans. That's all we talk about, the Texans offense being great, and it is. Our defense being great, and it is. That Texans offense isn't. Who do we like in this one? I'll start. I think the Texans win this game 15-13. Absolute slugfest, back and forth. Aaron Rodgers puts them in a position. They take a 13-12 lead. DJ Stroud hooks up with Nico Collins to put them in field goal range. And Kymie Fairbairn doesn't miss the way Tyler Luke does.
Fairbairn.
Texans 15-13.
I like the outcome. I don't think it's that close.
Okay.
I think Pittsburgh's offense is going to struggle against that defense. I think mightily. We saw it last week. Aaron Rodgers is just not mobile anymore. I think with Stingley Jr. and guys like that in the back end, I think they're going to struggle to move the ball consistently. He's not going to want Will Anderson Jr. breathing out his neck all night. He'll probably force a couple throws. I see at least one interception, maybe two. And I think CJ Stroud and company take care of business on the other side of the ball. I really do. I think Houston wins by double digits. I don't think this is a close game. It's my most confident pick of the whole weekend.
Okay.
Bill, I'm right there with you, man. I think the exact same thing. I like the Texans to win this game like 29-17. I think that Pittsburgh offense is going to struggle against this defense. And Gene, while I agree with you, I think that the Texans offense is, if you look at the names, you would think they should be better, but I don't think they're as bad as what you're kind of alluding to there. I think especially now that Nico's healthy and CJ has been back there, and they're starting to figure out whatever they can in terms of the running game. I think the offense will be fine, and I also think the defense is going to do a good job of getting them the ball with really good field position to put points up on the board. So I think this is a game that the Texans are going to take care of, and I think they're going to handle it, rather easily there.
Cam Hayward, TJ Watt, Derek Harmon, a lot of those guys in that front are going to have a field day against that offensive line of the Houston Texans. Just giving you my personal opinion, I think the game's much closer than you guys have it. There you go. TJ Watt and Hayward can disrupt that Texans line, it'll be closer. I agree. Guys, what I want to do quickly, because we got to move to college football. I'm going to give you guys your own bracket, and we're going to predict your playoff bracket, each person. Who wants to go first?
Before we do that, can I just ask you one question here?
Absolutely.
Should be quick. With the loss on Monday night, does Mike Tomlin stay or does he go?
I hope he stays because I think he's one of the greatest coaches in the NFL. I think Pittsburgh fans have been wanting a playoff win. They haven't had one since 2015. I think the Steelers go in a different direction.
I think he stays, but I do think, to Gene's point, I think with kind of the uprising and the noise from the fans, I do think he will literally be on. Like, I think next year would have to be some type of decent run, or I think they would have to finally really contemplate making a change.
I ultimately think that, Gene, you had a reel out there about the Lions and Dan Campbell. I think everything you said for me would apply to Mike Tomlin. I think Mike Tomlin's voice in that locker room, while I think they still, believe in Mike and they listen to him, I think the message has kind of gotten stale. The standard is the standard thing is, I think it goes one year and out the other when every year is you're one and done in the playoffs, no matter who's at quarterback. And I think the Steelers went out and acquired a ton of talent, whether you say they were over the hill and guys like Ramsey and Slay and things like that. They also went out and got DK and made the move to bring in Aaron as their starting quarterback this year, regardless of how you feel about him. So I do think there has to be expectations on this season here, and just making the playoffs, again, I don't think it's going to be enough for him.
The logic part is this. If Aaron Rodgers retires after this game, which I think he will, then you want to marry the coach to the quarterback. So if you're going to let Tomlin get his next quarterback, you might as well give him 3-4 more years. That's the reason why I think it makes sense for them to move forward, because you want to marry the coach to the quarterback. But who wants to go first in the playoff bracket?
Sure, I will. I'll bite.
All right, so you got the Chargers winning, right?
Chargers over the Patriots, yes.
Yeah, and everything else you have correct here, right?
Yeah.
Who do you have? Chargers versus Broncos.
Broncos, slim margin.
Broncos country, let's ride. Jaguars, Texans, round 3.
Texans, slim margin of victory.
Texans, Broncos.
Houston Texans going to the Super Bowl on the backs of their defense.
Everything on here is correct, right? You had all these?
Yes.
Rams at Seahawks, round 3.
Oh, defense is tough. I'm going with my preseason guys. I'm going with the Rams.
Eagles, Bears.
Bears. I'm going with the Eagles. Pulling out a gritty game.
In Lincoln Financial Field, where their season ended last year. Change your pick, Kittrell.
Well, Mr. NFL genius, I am rolling with the Los Angeles Rams. Too much offense in a game where the Eagles will need offense. Super Bowl champion, offense meets defense. Los Angeles Rams take it home.
Okay. Shall we start it over? Reset selections. You had the Patriots, right?
Yep.
Jaguars.
Yep.
Texans.
Yep.
You had Bears.
Yes.
Eagles.
Yep.
Rams.
Yep.
This is where we're at. Texans, Broncos.
Give me the Texans.
Okay. Jaguars versus Patriots.
Give me the Jaguars.
Oh my. Round 3. Texans, Jags.
This is tough. I mean, they split. I believe they split 1-1, and I watched the second game. And the Jaguars should have won the second game. Give me California superstar Jesus Christ, Trevor Lawrence, to go to the Super Bowl.
NFC, Rams, Seahawks.
Give me the Rams.
At Soldier Field, Eagles,
you already know.
Bears.
Just go.
You already know. Just go.
Just go.
Just go again.
Just go again. We're done. Give me the Fleagles to repeat.
All right, mine's going to look a lot different than these two guys. I got the Patriots beating the Chargers. I got the Buffalo Bills beating the Jaguars.
Boo.
I have the Texans barely beating the Steelers, which creates a fun matchup here. I like Josh Allen to go into Denver and beat the Broncos. Give me the New England Patriots.
Oh,
Round 3.
Take off the blazer, loosen up the tie, step outside the booth. Superman is alive.
Oh man, you got them losing another Super Bowl. Bills Mafia can't take it.
I like the Packers in the wild card round. I love the Eagles in this matchup. I like the LA Rams. It creates a fun matchup with Packers at Seahawks. I remember this game in Seattle. The tight end from the Green Bay Packers dropped the onside kick. I like the Seahawks. Eagles, Rams. I'm going with the Philadelphia Eagles. And I think the Eagles are too much for the Seattle Seahawks defensively. In the Super Bowl, guys, if you remember my prediction, I said the Eagles will win 7 straight games. I guess we can skip the Commanders game because it didn't matter. They rested their starters. I got the Buffalo Bills beating.
Oh my God.
No one circled the wagon like the
Absolute fucking disgrace.
I listen, I obviously love for the Eagles to win. I would love for the Eagles to win.
It's horrendous.
Gene, do you remember who your other long shot team was? I remember you had the Chargers.
49ers.
Okay.
49ers, Chargers, Eagles, Ravens.
Bill, do you remember yours?
I had the Chargers with Gene. I don't remember who my NFC team was.
Okay. I remember mine was
I don't bet anymore, but I'll bet you. I'll bet you're wrong.
My
Wait, what did that say?
Eagles first round exits. Brotato. I like the
Potatoes.
I like the Brotato though. I'm not gonna lie to you. Love that.
I had Steelers, Bears for my long shot Super Bowl.
Hey, you still got a shot at yours. I still got a shot at mine. After this week, we probably both won't. Long shots.
Yeah.
You had Eagles. Who did you have? Eagles, Bills, Bill?
For what?
For your Super Bowl prediction.
Nah, Eagles.
Oh,
Eagles.
Chiefs.
Eagles. No. Oh, beginning of the year?
Yeah. You had Eagles, Chiefs repeat. You did. I remember. Yeah. I don't remember who your long shot was though.
I have Rams over
my
Ravens.
AFC long shot was the Chargers. It was the same as yours. I don't remember my NFC one though.
Do we want to
Thanks,
throw up
Mahomes.
the final standings for Pick'em?
We can, absolutely.
That's not a bad season, bro.
No.
All 3 of us above 500.
I started 0-9 for the record.
That's a crazy comeback. I'll take 36, 16, and 2.
I bet you will.
Cottrell, awesome job.
I had to make up for college,
64% winning percentage. Do we happen to have Bowl Mania update? How we doing there?
I got you. We have.
Is Cottrell even on the list?
20 and 22.
Jesus.
Let's see. I will pull it up. 1 second here. I'm sure because it's being asked, Gene's probably in first.
He is.
Usually how that works.
Maybe. Could be wrong. I don't know.
Yep.
I haven't looked at it in a couple days.
30 and 13. Bill's at 25 and 17. Then I'm at
30 and 13.
20 and 22.
You better get the last couple right to get about 500.
I gotta probably change some stuff.
I gotta change my name. The NCAA genius. I'm kidding. Hey, listen, a blind squirrel finds a nut every once in a while.
I feel like Cottrell notoriously does bad in college bowl mania.
Oh, Bowl Mania. I suck in Bowl Mania every year.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's talk about some college football because, guys, and we'll recap a little bit. We'll preview a little bit. We got games tomorrow. Say something right now. Out of every game we watched, now, by the way, Texas Tech, Oregon, awful, terrible football game. Ohio State versus Miami, it was a good football game.
It's a wild result.
I thought Ohio State was going to come back and win that game.
Same.
Indiana absolutely dog walked. Absolutely dog walked.
Who's yelling?
What?
Who's yelling?
Indiana. I don't know. Indiana dog walks Alabama. But the game of the weekend, maybe the game of the college football season, man, how much fun was it watching Ole Miss, Georgia?
Absolutely.
It was a great game. It's everything you want a college football playoff game to be.
If you didn't know his name before, you know it now.
You know it now.
Trinidad Shambliss.
Trini.
39-34. Trinidad was 30 of 46 for 362 yards, 2 touchdowns. Kawan Lacey played his ass off. Harrison Wallace just could not catch a football. That was a fun football game. Ole Miss, what a game. I'm rooting for Ole Miss to win it all now. Indiana's a fun story, though.
The crazy thing is, man, there's a little part of kind of destiny or sentimental value to each one of these teams. Obviously, Indiana, just the turnaround and with Signetti and everything else. Oregon trying to win their first one. Sorry, Alex. Obviously, Ole Miss is just, unless you've been living under a rock, you understand the situation there. And then, I mean, you possibly have the Miami Oregon matchup out there, old coach versus old team, and obviously, kind of the Cinderella with them a little bit. There's a lot of people that didn't think they should be in the playoff. So, a lot of interesting kind of narratives surrounding all 4 teams. It's going to be a lot of fun.
He said, sorry, Carl Anthony Kitten is pissing me off.
I figured he was watching something that he had money on. He's screaming at somebody.
He's a Knicks fan, bro.
Well, that's
Carl Anthony Kitten's pissing him off.
Trash.
But I'll tell you what I was most shocked about. I was most shocked about how bad Texas Tech played football. Offensively. Their defense is incredible.
Yeah.
Their offense was anemic. Just didn't move at all. And I'd like to give Oregon credit for having a great defense, but didn't they just give up 500 yards to JMU the week prior?
I mean, a lot of it came in garbage time when they had their 2s and 3s in, but I think that game was so odd because obviously Oregon scored a touchdown late to make it a 3-score game there, but there was an opportunity where Texas Tech was literally in the red zone on like the 7, 8, 9 yard line, and Bear Morton had the opportunity to put the ball in the end zone, and he threw an interception, and that was really all she wrote there. I think if you're Texas Tech, you kind of have to look at this with a glass half full approach. This was the first year where the boosters really put money into the program, and you had all the transfers come in, and I don't think a lot of people were even expecting them to be as good as they were this year, let alone make the playoffs. So I do think they will be losing some talent there, but again, those donors and boosters have shown that they will not be shy about spending some money to bring in some talent there. And they've already started by, kind of making a splash and getting Brendan Swordsby to come in and take the reins over from Bear Morton there.
Had to, because Bear Morton was the worst player on the field. Sorry. Don't like to come down on kids, but he was terrible. He definitely had that deer in the headlight moment way, 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 way too big for me. Look, a lot. Oregon's defense is very good. Don't get me wrong. They're one of the better units in the country, but there was throws there to be made he just didn't see. There was other throws that he did see that he didn't make. You mentioned the interception in the end zone, which was kind of a big momentum swing earlier in the game. They had another bad fumble later in the game. That was not a good performance by any stretch of the imagination. I feel bad for him. Feel bad for the offense. Defense played their hearts out. Like Cottrell said, I mean, that was a 16-0 game with like a minute and a half to go. I mean, it was a 2-possession game, and that defense just, I mean, they had to be on the field for 85% of the game. Down in Miami nonetheless too, where it wasn't necessarily super hot, but it's not cold down there either. So I was one of those people. I thought they were going to be a year away. I thought they'd be really good next year. Some of the transfers that came in, were dynamite, instant kind of playmakers. I don't know if that defense will be as good as it was this year, obviously, but I think the offense will be a lot better next year too. So, like Cottrell said, they already went out and got a quarterback. I think they'll be a little bit more explosive. I don't think they'll have to rely on the defense as much next year. So, Texas Tech's not going anywhere.
Cottrell, I'd love to give you the floor. I don't, this is not just to be the smart ass at all. I'm just asking what you've seen in the college football semifinal of Miami versus the Ohio State.
I mean, I saw a team that got dominated in the trenches, and I think I should say offensively. I mean, I think our defensive line definitely didn't have their greatest game by any stretch of the imagination there, but as a whole, they only gave up 17 points there, and one of those touchdowns came late there where it almost felt like you kind of had to let them get in the end zone to at least give yourself a shot and get the ball back there. So not even necessarily too upset with the defensive side of things with their performances and things like that, but offensively, they were absolutely abused. And I knew Miami had a really talented defensive line there. And I knew that could potentially be a problem. That was my biggest worry going into the game, but I didn't think it would ultimately look like that. And you could tell that Julian saying that was really the second time, I would say the Indiana game as well, but second time all season that he's really been uncomfortable in the pocket. And I think when you have Ryan Day trying to dial up plays and shots downfield and you don't trust the protection in front of you and you're not even looking to hit those, chunk plays there, that really puts a strain on the offense there. And so I think it was, ultimately why that game offensively looked the way that it did. You had Julian saying who didn't trust his offensive line because they were getting beat like a drum. So I said it on Coast to Coast. That being Ryan Day's first time calling plays this season, I really don't think that played a huge factor into it. I think there were opportunities there, but the offensive line just didn't hold up. And even when it did hold up, Julian didn't trust it enough to still go through it and make the right reads there. So definitely a learning experience for a redshirt freshman, but sucks because I feel like this was a team that was talented enough to win a national championship this year.
I mean, I thought they had everything going their way. They're down 14-0 at the break. They get the game back to 17-14. They get the football. And then there's a 3rd and 15 play to Julian Sayin hits Jeremiah Smith for 16 yards. And I'm saying to myself, there's no way Ohio State loses this game after completing that pass. And, penalty here. And
egregious hold call halted that drive.
I'm not even disagreeing with you. But the biggest part of that was you punt the ball away. You can't allow Miami to go 70 yards.
Yep.
That was a drive where you need that defense to step up. I'm going to ask a question because you watch him play a lot more than I do. I've probably watched 4 Ohio State games this year. Shame on me for not watching more. I was waiting to see Arvell Reese become this number 1 pick that I thought he was. He disappeared. That game and the Indiana game, I just didn't see much of him. Now, I mean, you can credit Indiana and now you can credit Miami's game plan for slowing him down or knowing where he's out in the field. But Caleb Downs, to me, looks like a guy that is going to be the best safety in the league. He looks like a guy, to me, that is going to be Kyle Hamilton in the NFL.
Exactly what he is.
Arvell Reese looks like a guy that likes to beat up on Northwestern. And I could be wrong. I told you, 4 games. I'm not like trying to pretend that I know, but 2 games I watched him play, the 2 games that mattered the most, he looked like he disappeared.
So I would say this. I think clearly seeing him play the first half of the season, he is a natural born pass rusher. But he's a middle linebacker. Like he plays essentially middle linebacker there for us. Essentially, think about it like if Penn State would have used Micah Parsons. Obviously, he started playing the edge position, but if they would have primarily used him as a middle linebacker as opposed to him rushing the passer, he didn't rush the passer a ton, and that's why you didn't see a ton of production there from him in either of those 2 football games there. So I think we misused him in those football games. Now, of course, he's a star. You want to see him fly around. You want to see him make plays. But in the Indiana game specifically, they used him primarily to spy Fernando Mendoza. And when you're spying, your only job is to make sure the quarterback's not running free. So, of course, you're not going to look great on film and things like that. But I think, if anything, this should show teams across the NFL that he is a versatile player, but he's going to make his money rushing the pass. Like that's what he does.
Okay. Charlie, do you see it like Cottrell? Because what he said, I'm sold, right? I think that the guy's going to be a great player.
I mean, he's one of those guys that is on the freakish side athletically. He's not going to be a middle linebacker in the NFL. He's not going to play in that position. He'll either play outside, in a 3-4, or if they're playing a 4-3, he'll be an edge guy. Cottrell's 100% right. He's just more of a natural, just get after it type guy. He's not you'd be misusing him if you're drafting to play middle linebacker. I would say that. So I think Cottrell's spot on, in that way.
Alrighty. And then the last thing, was there too much made of Alabama making the college football playoff for the way they bailed out versus Indiana? I mean, they won at Oklahoma. So is that enough to just kind of ignore that? Or I'm trying to understand a little bit better because that was not a competitive football game.
If I'm being honest, I think Notre Dame makes that game look rather similar. Like I'm not saying that it's maybe 37-3, but I think Notre Dame gets beat on too. I think Indiana is just that good.
Okay.
So regardless of if maybe Notre Dame does make it a closer game, I'm not saying that they don't. But regardless of that, Alabama won a playoff game. I think they proved that they belong there, regardless of how you feel about them or Oklahoma or how that game looked. I think if you win, you kind of put some validity to that stake there. But ultimately, like we have to realize that Indiana is a really, really good football team that may be your national champions come 2 weeks from now.
I wouldn't disagree. I think Notre Dame makes it a definitely a closer game. I don't think Notre Dame beats Indiana. I was very outspoken all year about Notre Dame's defense, and I think you would have saw those shortcomings in that game for sure, just like Cottrell mentioned. But their offense is going to move the ball a lot better than Alabama's did. But that being said, it is what it is. I think if you would have took a lot of bias and asked a lot of people that were honest, if they would have ranked the top 10 teams, taking out Tulane and James Madison, I think Oklahoma, and the way everybody was playing at that point, I think Oklahoma and Alabama were probably at the bottom of most people's list, if you're being 100% honest. They won the game at Oklahoma, to your point, which is not an easy thing to do, but I also think Indiana is just a juggernaut. I think they are just as good as an overall unit as Michigan was 2 years ago, as Ohio State was last year. They don't have a weakness. They do everything well. They're a really good football team that's really bought in, that play with a chip on their shoulders because that's how they're coached, and that's how their coach Kurt Cignetti carries himself. He carries himself like he's been kind of wrong this whole life, and the kids buy into it, and they're a really good football team.
Okay. Let's predict these college football semifinals. You guys got Indiana versus Oregon, round 2. First game was played in Indiana. It's a good football game.
Oregon.
At Oregon.
Oh, in Oregon, sorry. good football game. This game will be played on a neutral turf. I think Oregon will probably travel a little better, but just my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's gonna be close. I mean, it's a way easier travel for Indiana. It's a lot closer. I mean, it's sending Oregon all the way from Eugene all the way down to Atlanta is a hike. But yeah, I mean, it's like any other. I mean, kids and everybody are gonna find a way to get there. They always do. But I think on a neutral field, I think Indiana still does things that Oregon does, but does them a little bit better. Oregon's a little bit banged up, which we found out this week. I don't think the outcome is much different than it was in the first time around. I like Indiana.
Control.
I like Indiana here as well for a lot of the same reasons. I think Dante Moore would probably be the first one to tell you that he didn't perform his best in that first matchup, and I do think he will take this game a little bit personal there. But I think it's going to be easier for Indiana to kind of key in on what Oregon wants to do through the pass game because they have a lot of confidence in what they're able to do to stop the run. So with that said, I like Indiana to take care of business in this one. Maybe not necessarily a 10-point game, but I do think Indiana is going to have control of this one and punch or take it to the national championship.
I'm with you. I think Indiana's the best. I think Mendoza is a very good quarterback. Every time I watch that kid step back, I know you guys don't like him as much as I do.
I think he's a great college quarterback. I just don't think he's a franchise guy at the next level.
Why?
I think he has the benefit. He's one of those guys that is playing on a very, very good football team, and they do a lot of things to help him. And I think it's a lot of things that you can't necessarily do at the NFL level all the time. I'm not saying he's bad. I'm not saying he won't go to the NFL, won't be successful. I'm just saying I don't think he's a franchise guy.
I know, but you think that who do you think is a franchise guy in college football now?
I don't. I've already said we talked about it earlier in the show. I would not draft a quarterback this year.
No, but even next year, Julian's saying you said he was.
I think Julian can be. But I mean, again, Julian, for all intents and purposes, is a freshman. So I mean, he's you saw his shortcomings as soon as a team could constantly pressure him. And you saw those cracks earlier this year in smaller samples. Miami was the only team that could do it consistently. But again, he's got 2 more years of starting before he goes. So I mean, he could develop into that. Okay. Arch is obviously the big name. And I think he has stuff to work on. So, again, I don't think there's a sure thing anywhere right now.
For me, I think the biggest reason why Mendoza isn't a franchise guy for me is because for me, when I think franchise guys, especially in the draft and drafting them early, I want somebody that has elite traits. And for me, I don't think Mendoza has any elite traits. Does he have good accuracy? Yes. Does he have a good arm? Yes. But like for me, I don't think either of those are elite from him. I think the one thing that you may consider elite would be his processing. I guess my question marks would be, is that more him or is that more Cignetti making it easy for him and just kind of knowing where to go? But again, with that being said,
with Brock Purdy, and Brock Purdy developed into a top 10 quarterback by your admission?
Absolutely. That is 100% happened. But Brock Purdy was not drafted first overall. Brock Purdy was drafted in the 7th round. So, I mean, I think that is the point. Like, that is quite literally the point.
But if you don't think of Mendoza goes to the Raiders with, let's just say it plays out the way I think, with Brian Dable as his OC, you don't think that Mendoza can be a franchise quarterback?
I mean, potentially, maybe. I guess. Like, I'm saying if even knowing what I know.
The only thing I like about him is the way he talks.
Even what I know now with Brock Purdy, like everything I know now, if I said, hey, we have the number 1 overall pick and Brock Purdy is going to be our guy to come in and change this team around, I would have a ton of question marks with that. Like, I think Brock Purdy is very good. I think scheme also ultimately plays a huge part in that. But we don't know who the Raiders head coach is going to be. We don't know who their OC is going to be. And I when I think franchise guy, I think of a guy who I'm taking number one overall, who no matter essentially who is in there, if we put him around, guys get fired, we put him around the right guy, they can elevate this franchise to, new heights there.
I mean, not to like even like jump on that, but like Gene, you're one of the most people that's most adamant about, what situation everything you go to.
100%.
Yeah, and I'm not saying you're wrong in that, but I'm like, he's either going to go to the Raiders or the Jets, which are by no means situations as we sit here right now.
I would much rather
set
him
up
go
for
to
succeed.
But if
I think
Dante Moore
Raiders
comes out and
second
they
and
take,
third best job in football right now.
but to that point though, if the Raiders, and Dante Moore comes out, I think Dante Moore is a better prospect. Still think he has holes too, but I think he's a better prospect. If they say, hey, we're going to take Dante Moore here, and then you got Fernando Mendoza going to a big market in that media with the Jets.
I don't think he can land in.
The way that
I don't
happens.
think he can go to the Jets. I agree. I don't think he'd be a franchise quarterback.
I think one thing that I will say I think will help him at the next level is I think his athleticism is a little bit underrated. I think that will help him, for lack of a better term, probably survive the next 2 years no matter where he goes. I agree with you. The Raiders did a great job. You also have to deal with Mark Davis, dude, who makes just bonehead decision after bonehead decision and is involved in everything in that team. So you can go hire Dable and Harbaugh or whoever, but like if you surround the kid with idiots, it's not going to matter.
I think with Tom Brady there, if I were the person making the moves in Las Vegas, I would do whatever it takes to get the combination of Flores and Dable as my head coach and offensive coordinator. I would ask Tom Brady who you'd rather have. Like if you're the Raiders, right, and that's your situation, you're the GM of the Raiders. Let's just play into my mythological draft. You have Flores as your head coach. You have Dable as your offensive coordinator. You have Tom Brady in your front office. Who are you picking at one?
Dante Moore.
Okay.
I mean, out of the two of them, I think their ceilings are probably fairly close. I think Dante's floor is probably a little higher.
I think that the Jets and Dante Moore could work. I don't think Mendoza could work in a big market. I can't take the way he talks. Like I think the New York media would destroy him.
Yeah, I mean he's a dorkier version of Kirk Cousins.
Yes, 100%.
I think the one thing though that you're kind of forgetting it, you keep mentioning the fact that Tom Brady is there, but let's not act like
any decisions.
Tom Brady has been there, they haven't fired 2 football coaches.
Yeah.
Like it's still a dysfunctional franchise there, even with Tom Brady in the building.
I had $100 million, the number 1 overall pick, Ashton Genty and Brock Bowers. I would draft Mendoza. I would use $100 million to shore up my line. I'd run the ball with Genty. I'd throw the ball to Bowers, and I would put him in the right system.
That makes sense.
That's common sense. This goes back to what I said 2 minutes ago. Tom Brady's not the person making all the decisions there. He's really not making any. You have a GM who, again, isn't going to take that GM job if they're like, all right, if we're just going to let Tom Brady make all the decisions, what am I doing here? And B, you have to deal with Mark Davis, who's an absolute buffoon. Yeah. So, I mean, that all factors in. Like, again, you could walk into the room and make all the sense, and everybody in that room could be like, Gene's right, let's do that. And Mark Davis is going to be like, we're going to draft a safety. Like and if that's what he wants to do, that's what they're going to do. So like it's like that's part of it.
No.
What?
There's Ashton Genty rookie of the year. No. He's not top 5.
No.
Probably Howard Shuck. But all right. So you guys both have Indiana. I have Indiana. Ole Miss versus Miami. I'm going to ask you guys a question before we go. Now, I can see if you guys say no. It's perfectly fine. Miami is the favorite in the game. They're 3.5-point favorites. I would like to throw myself at the court and say, guys, I picked the Miami Hurricanes to win it all in week 4 when Penn State was eliminated.
Oh, I already know where this is going.
Can I switch to Ole Miss?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I'm saying no. Cottrell, I knew as soon as you started talking sincerely, this is what you were going to do.
I was throwing myself in the court here.
Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. I'm banging the gavel. I'm throwing your ass in the hole. My answer is no.
I'm giving up the favorite, and I'm taking the underdog.
We'll go to the comments if Cottrell disagrees with me, but my vote is no.
So the problem is that I've known Gene. I've gotten to know Gene over the last 5 years and some change here, and the problem is that he'll say this and he'll switch over to Ole Miss for this game, but as soon as Miami wins and they go to national championship, it's like, see, I told you, I had Miami. National champions, baby. So it is an absolutely.
Which is why I'm asking you guys to let me switch, because I can't say
This is 100% Gene hedging his bet here.
I'm not hedging my bet. I want to root for Ole Miss.
I'm with Bill. Root for him then. Root for him and be wrong. Root for him and be wrong then.
I will. I'll root for him and be wrong. I love Trinidad Chambliss. I love watching that team play. I love them just doing this despite they had 5 coaches from LSU stay, and now Lane Kiffin's only letting 2 of them, and Charlie Weiss is the only. I'm not going to LSU if you don't let me finish what I've started here at Ole Miss. I give him credit.
Lane being Lane.
Lane's such a scumbag. Lane didn't even watch Ole Miss play. He went to the LSU basketball game like a scumbag.
Careful. His biggest defender, Alex, is probably lurking in these comments somewhere.
How is Alex defending him?
Alex loves him.
Loves him to the core.
To the core. Defends him, plays devil's advocate no matter what gets said about Lane.
It's funny because I like Alex a lot. Me and him have not seen eye to eye. And the only time I ever see him is if I disagree with something like his team and his team wins. He'll egg it on. It's gone. It's gone. Every other time he's like a ghost. But when his team wins against my team or something I picked, there he is.
Yeah. Lane is hot button on coast to coast.
He definitely is. He's a magnet for arguments on coast to coast.
I love it. That's good. Good radio.
Yeah, piece of shit. That's what he gets.
Whoa.
He's not lying.
Alex, a piece of shit?
No, Lane Kiffin. Lane
Kiffin. Hey, well, I can't let you do that. I like
tension behind the scenes. I think this game is so intriguing. Like I said, I think you have Miami playing with the chip of everybody saying they shouldn't be there. They go, win their first game, go upset Ohio State. And like you said, now they're sitting in the Final Four and they're favorites. Ole Miss, I think overall is going to be the sentimental favorite for a lot of people because of they're going to feel bad for the kids and what Lane did, and want to see a bunch of kids that in theory made the right decision, stayed together, played together. They're going to pull for that coach. So it's going to be really interesting to see the game play out. I think Miami's the favorite. Really, I don't want to say strictly, but a lot because they beat Ohio State. I think that factored into it a lot. I think it's an intriguing matchup. I do think if Miami plays again the way they played against Ohio State, I think they're going to beat Ole Miss.
Who do you got in this game, Miami or Ole Miss, Control?
I got Ole Miss. I think that Ole Miss can learn a ton from what Ohio State didn't do. You saw Ohio State have a lot of success in the second half when they started to run a bit more tempo, and Ole Miss already does that naturally with their offense there. Miami is a team that does not sub out, their defensive line too often there. And while they do have studs in that defensive line, I think if you go tempo, you can start to wear them down over the course of a football game there. And then with that said, I also think on the flip side of it, Miami's offense really hasn't been asked to do too much so far throughout these playoffs. And I do think if Ole Miss figures it out and they do run that tempo, I do think this can potentially turn into a track meet there. and you're getting into the 20s, maybe even potentially the 30s there with points. And I think that's going to force that Miami offense to do something that they haven't done so far in this postseason there. So I like Ole Miss to win this football game. I do think it's going to be somewhat of a higher scoring game. I forgot the exact score I said on Coast to Coast, but I'm kind of leaning somewhere around like 31-23, where it's still a really good football game, and Miami's even got a chance to potentially tie it. But I think Ole Miss's offense is going to be too much here.
33-28, Ole Miss. I think they win the football game. I love Trinidad Chambliss. I'm rooting for Ole Miss. You get a true David versus Goliath in the Ole Miss versus Indiana. I think that'd be incredible to watch. I'm tuned in. And listen, I'm tuned in to Indiana versus Oregon. Top 2 picks going up against each other. I'm tuned in to all these games. I'm fired up. And guys, I don't want to say casual. I'm no longer a casual. I'd say I'm a step above a casual at this point.
For sure.
Fair?
For sure.
Okay. I need validation from people
you've
earned
come a really, really long way in college football since we started the show.
I will ask you this question because my eyes have never lied to me. Well, they lied to me about Brock Purdy. They lied to me about Drake May. All right, I'll stop. But my eyes very rarely lie to me. My eyes tell me Reuben Bain Jr. is a better edge rusher than Arvell Reese. Are my eyes lying to me?
Better edge rusher. I think it depends on what you're looking for.
I didn't say better player. I said better edge rusher.
I think it depends on as a pure edge rusher, I disagree. But I also think Reuben Bain's going to make a ton of money with his ability to stop the run. And he's also like bigger, more powerful. So
I don't mean just an edge rusher, but I mean like the edge position.
Yeah. You not just rushing the passer. You mean like as a whole? Just okay.
The position.
Okay. I can give you that. I think it's a
he just
preference kind of thing.
He looked very dominant in that football game versus Ohio State. He looked very dominant in that football game versus at A&M. He looks different, man. It just looks like a freak. He reminds me like Javon Curse, how he looked in college. And like how Jadeveon Clowney looked in college. He just was bigger and stronger and better.
I was going to say, not Miles now, because Miles has what people, I think, fail to realize is that Miles has actually developed a pass rush arsenal since he's been in the NFL. Coming out, I didn't really think he had one. I thought it was just more power and speed. But he reminds me a lot of A&M Miles. So I can definitely see that.
All right. Gentlemen, we got to get to You Got to Be Kidding Me. It's been a long show.
You knew we were going to go long.
We had
First one back.
Yeah. We got to get to You Got to Be Kidding Me. And hopefully, after 3 weeks, Gallius actually has You Got to Be Kidding Me this week.
Nope.
We should just eliminate this segment.
No.
For Bill. Just for Bill.
For Bill.
Just eliminate it. Just don't even go to him anymore.
Control.
All right. So I told you guys originally that mine was going to be Zach Taylor and Jamar Chase for just crying about Miles getting the record there and them stopping the game. But we actually had some additional, like more of a breaking news story, and it's not everything's not confirmed here, but I want to put it out here just because the story did break today. So Rashee Rice's ex-girlfriend has accused him of 8 years of domestic abuse, alleging ongoing violence, including while she was pregnant. She posted 14 horrifying photos as proof of the allegations against Rice, and the NFL is currently investigating this matter. Well, without laying too much in the Rice here, before we get all of the facts of the situation, my thing is that you were already really given a blessing that you didn't hurt anyone with the first incident that you had, and that they gave you the 6-game suspension, and you came back and you proved to be the Chiefs' really only legitimate weapon on offense. And meanwhile, behind the scenes here, you have all of this going on, domestic abuse here, which wouldn't be tolerated in any situation, regardless of who you are. But you have this going on when you already were given, for just, I would say, just easy words here, I'd say a second chance of life here, at least NFL wise. and you have this going on. Raishi Rice, you have a ton of growing up to do here, and I don't even know if you realize that this might be the end of your NFL career if all this is proven to be true here, because they'll give you a second chance there, but you add this on top of what has already been done there, that ultimately might be it for you. So of course we still have a ton left to see what ultimately is going to come about this, what's true, what's been exaggerated there and things like that. But for right now, Raishi Rice, even putting yourself in this situation after you've already been given a second chance at NFL greatness here.
Come on, you gotta be kidding me.
Mine is very easy this week. I've been waiting to use it for a little while. And I made mention to it multiple times during the show. My you got to be kidding me this week is Lane Kiffin. And the main part of it is if I coached a group of young men, look, I think we can all understand that the timing of it due to the NCAA kind of sucks. It does. He had to make a decision. He had to leave to go to LSU. LSU wasn't going to wait on him. They're conference rivals. It's one of the best jobs in the country. I can defend Lane Kiffin for a lot of the things that happened in this situation. Where I can't defend him, and I guess the part that frustrates me the most, is if I loved a group of guys, a group of team, and I battled for them, and I coached them, and I did all this, and they were playing in the college football semifinals. I mean, he was hand in hand walking into LSU women's basketball game while his Ole Miss team was about to take the field. It's embarrassing to me. You're not even going to watch them. You're going to let it be known that you're at an LSU women's basketball game during the college football semifinal. I feel like the people that do things that have low character, they'll show you time and time again. They will show you their character time and time again. Lane Kiffin shows you his poor character from Rocky Top to the plane that he left on to get to USC. Lane showed you who he was. He's showing you again. Believe him. So for this week, Lane Kiffin.
Come on, you gotta be kidding me.
And that's one of the things we always say about him. He's his own worst enemy, but he loves being the center of attention.
It looks like we're getting breaking news right now.
We do have some breaking news.
Trae Young. Trade.
No.
It's official. He's been traded to the Washington Wizards.
I need to hear the haul.
Corey Kispert, CJ McCollum.
That's it?
That is it.
Jesus Christ.
I actually think Corey Kispert's going to do really well with Jalen Johnson. Even though I think he's a stiff, I think he'll do well with Jalen Johnson.
I think CJ McCollum is thanking his heavenly stars that he got out of Washington, because regardless of if he's your view on him, he was rotten in Washington. And I think him going to the Hawks, really with no crazy expectations there, I think he couldn't be happier to be with that team.
I think Trae Young with Alex Sarr actually won't be bad. And I think Justin Champagnie, like that group won't be terrible.
Bub.
It'll be interesting. Hawks just wanted him out of there. Yeah, I agree. Hawks got rid of him, got him out of there. I think he's a loser. Not a loser as in like a loser as a person, but I think that like his basketball game translates to losing. Like he's out tonight, and I know that New Orleans is no flash in the pan. Like they're not a great team. But they got Zion, Derek Queen, Jeremiah Fears, who've been playing good basketball. He's not playing tonight, and Atlanta's beating him by 20. You know, it just didn't look better when he's not there.
I don't think that was always the case, though.
Right? Yeah, I agree. Any final comments, gentlemen?
No, I got nothing.
I don't know. If you're a football fan, the next 5 days are about as good as it gets.
Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday, wild card weekend, Sunday, 3 games, and Monday night football. I cannot wait to watch some football. Are you ready for some football? I am. Who do you think you are? I am.
Pete Weber.
Thank you guys for tuning in. By the way, Brett, I see you in the chat. We've seen Trae Young was traded and is a Washington Wizard. I do want you to go back and listen to my little rant that I went on about Derrick Henry's carries. And it was for you. I tagged you for a reason. We can debate it anytime you want. But the team scores that many points on the road in the second half. I don't care about how many carries Derrick Henry gets. But I love you, Brett. Just giving my opinion. Thank you guys so much for tuning in this week's Wire2Wire Sports Podcast. I'm the NFL GSG Malzek. That's Kent State's own, Cleveland's own, Cottrell, Uncle Shally, Scholastic Shally, Mr. William Shawcross, and we are signing out.